roll up and out. See you from afar, got my thoughts in the sky. Where we used to kiss, sunshine, shit, and why? You gotta call me every day, pretend you my baby. I see more real out there lately, it's crazy. Yeah, we could be the same as we claim in this kingdom shit and keep it tame. Come on, baby girl, we're not the same. Two different speeds, but we keep it one lane. Yeah, what goes around comes around. Keep 100, y'all. Do this for my soul like a dawn. Put the stereo on.
Put your hands in the air, we'll be alright. Oh, yeah. You keep messing up my mind, but I love your style. You know I
put the place up. Put my face up.
Welcome to the SMITE Global Series. Finch and Agro here to bring you all the action. We're going to be looking at Southeast Asia in particular. And Ryan, I know you got to be excited for some of this Global Series action.
Always am. Southeast Asia is a lot of fun to watch because they aren't the most tactical necessarily and more about just 5 dudes running at another 5 dudes.
I feel like I can kill that guy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it's fun to watch, man. It really is, especially whenever we're looking at the top end here of Southeast Asia, which we are today. Mashu boys up against Get On My Level, 2 teams that have looked at the international stage so far this year. So I'm excited to see what we have in store.
And it's the most important time to making sure that you are competing at that high level so you can try and make it to HRX. But again, for you all at home, remember it's not going to be quite that difficult. Just grab your tickets now. HighResExpo.com. It's November 16th through 18th. Make sure you're there. We'll all be hanging out, having a good time, enjoying some Smites and Paladins, everything you could want to see.
Definitely a lot of fun. Make sure you go and get your tickets as soon as possible. DreamHack Atlanta won't be just Smite and Paladins action.
That's right.
It'll be a whole lot of stuff as well.
Yeah, we're going to be kind of there with a whole lot of other things going on, but it'll still have that HRX feel. From everything I'm hearing about is that you'll definitely be able to be in your own HRX space. But if you want to see a little bit more, some of the other stuff going on, that's all right there for you. So make sure you grab them, come hang out. It'll be a lot of fun. But today we're going to be taking a look at the Global Series in Southeast Asia. Let's go ahead and look at the actual matchups. Again, it is Mashu Boys and Get On My Level that we're looking at today. Tomorrow we're going to Brazil to see WatchMe up against ESPORTS. Unfortunate, we're missing out on that one, Ryan. We're over here, and we can't be with that Brazil match.
What do you mean? We could show up tomorrow at 11 a.m. and do that if you wanted to.
Do you think so? I mean, we don't make the schedule, do we? I'm pretty sure that's the gambler that makes
it. You know, I'm pretty sure if we sent Graham Hinderman Hadfield a heartfelt email and said, look, we really want to do Watch My Nene versus ETES Esports, we could be here for it. So if you want that, I mean, let me know.
Yeah, I think we should do that. I think that we should non-ironically do that. Some good matchups that we saw happen in some of those other regions as well, so make sure that y'all are keeping up because things aren't always black and white everywhere throughout all of our various regions. Look over in Brazil. Black Dragons and No Ping are neck and neck, which has historically been a region dominated by Black Dragons. Over in Oceania, Uyghur and Servo struggling a little bit along with Atletico, who we have seen kind of up and down. They're up there with Insight now. Over in LATAM, things are a little bit more like what we're used to, but I think you got to make sure you're keeping your eye on this, man. These regions are tighter than ever.
They really are, and particularly in Southeast Asia here, Get On My Level sitting at 2-0, but Mashu Boys and the Substitutes both at 1-1. So there's potential there for Mashu Boys to catch up and try and get on the level of Get On My Level.
I see what you did there.
The first of many.
It is obviously understandable, though, for Mashu Boys. I'm hearing that they do have a bit of a different look, not quite maybe the same roster that we're familiar with that first kind of stole our hearts with their excellent logo. Apparently, I'm the logo guy. It's really easy to win me over.
No, really, it's very clear. No, but I'm right there with you. The first thing I told you today was this is going to be a good game because it's Get On My Level, the superhero landing panda, up against the Mashu Boys. You know, the glasses. Oh, it's so good.
Oh man, that's like the anime guy. I know what's really going on here. Look, he's
exactly.
Right
it needs a little twinkle in his eye,
absolutely.
Like as soon as his eye gets revealed. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Perfect.
I do think that the lack of clear outline detail of the panda actually adds to it.
Right.
Some would say that it takes away from the Get On My Level logo. I'm contrarian here. I feel like that actually makes it even better.
Yeah, I think that I definitely like it. I want to know what that panda's getting up to when it's not, superhero landing. What's about to happen next? But what's about to happen next in these picks and bans as Naja Freya gets banned away? Looks like we are going to get to take our first look at Pele, or maybe not, rather, with her getting banned away. So we won't get to see what's going on with her. But Sobek banning that one out as well. That does still mean that Chernobog is still available. Athena is still out there as well. A lot of top picks.
That's what happens whenever you have a new god that comes into the scene that players aren't really sure how good she really is.
Right.
Maybe we'll just ban her to make sure that we don't have to go up against her. Though I'm pretty sure that Pele is ban-worthy right now.
Yes.
I think that she is pretty good. Her early game is just phenomenal. She clears so quickly. She rotates around the map so quickly. And then she brings just absurd amounts of damage in the early game. Her late game struggles, but the idea is at a competitive level, you never need to worry about that.
Yeah, it is kind of a struggle for all assassins, but I think Pele in particular can kind of struggle in some of those late game team fights. I'm right there with you. As Athena and Robin come in for Mashu Boys, 2 strong early picks for them. We just love Athena for the taunt, the confound, the global rotations. Obviously, Robin, an early game powerhouse for you out of the jungle as well. Try and cause some problems for Morrigan potentially and try and catch her out. We don't know where she's going. We've seen some mid, some solo, so it's up in the air.
I expect to see it in the mid lane though, and you've got already some pretty good transformation targets as the Morrigan. You can turn into Chernobog and get across the map very easily. Athena can do the same if someone needs some support and some extra damage in that spot. Robin's a pretty decent transformation. Give yourself some safety and some good aggression if someone's right in front of you. This is a good Morrigan selection.
Thoth coming in. Is it just me, or have we been seeing less Thoth lately? I don't know. I don't know why. I feel like Thoth is still excellent. That poke is hard to beat.
He got nerfed where Glyph of Pain no longer procs item effects, and so that makes his early wave clear significantly worse because Mage's Blessing no longer procs twice on the Hieroglyphic Assault plus Glyph of Pain. Soul Reaver is a lot worse on him. All these things kind of compound to where his early game isn't quite as good, and so you don't really get the chance to play that incredible late game.
Well, maybe Machu boys feeling confident they can make it to that late game. We'll see how it ends up working for them as Achilles comes in, because apparently Robin is not enough early aggression for you. You got to slap an Achilles on there as well to really make sure you're controlling that solo jungle side of the map. But get on my level following up with the out Kwong. Okay.
Okay, so now maybe a pressure warrior, and Bologna is going to be right there with it. This is pretty good. I do like the Bologna here, we get our first real look at Berserker Shield and how that does at this level of the SMITE Global Series. I do think that Osiris is a little bit better right now with the Berserker Shield, but Bologna's right there with him on gods that can really make use of that new item.
And we saw it starting, I think, a little bit in console yesterday. Some of the pros are doing it as well, that round shield start, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see that as well, where you just rush into the Berserker Shield literally as soon as possible because it's just so good on some of these warriors. So we'll see if that ends up being the idea from Get On My Level as Apollo comes in for an Athena-Apollo duo lane, an old school lane that we don't get to see much anymore.
It is an old school lane and one that I'm a fan of, and it has the potential to really match that global rotation power that this Chernobog has. So
right,
now
that's a good point.
Follow him, not a little bit more slowly, but can still follow him as the idea, and I like it. I think that Apollo is a god that's a little bit underutilized right now. I feel like he's pretty good, and excited to see him get played.
There's a lot to try and keep track of here. First, Get On My Level, the player, because don't forget, we have to do that with these guys.
But they don't have Gommel anymore.
They don't have Gommel, it would seem, or
could be a
name change, possibly, yeah. But he's going with the Hunter's Blessing into the round shield. So most of the times we see them just start with the tier 1 of it and just rush it like back as soon as possible. But it looks like the idea here is to have the Hunter's Blessing for even stronger auto attacks, because Berserker Shield doesn't do enough for you apparently.
Yeah, I actually don't hate it, because it does mean that yes, your auto attacks hit even harder, which means you're getting more out of your Gladiator Shield, or excuse me, your Berserker Shield, and it means that you're attacking faster, so you're getting more procs off of your Berserker Shield. Now, this Mage's Blessing on the other side for Jake Pocket, I am less enthused about.
Yes.
I think this item on Achilles is not going to up your clear by that much. I think that getting your extra sustain in lane from the Warrior's Blessing is just a little bit better. Or rushing for an early Glad Shield. Or I think early boots, the boots 2 start is really, really good on Achilles because he has such insane kill potential with completed boots that I think that's where I would have rather seen Jake Pocket go.
I'm right there with you. I think the boots rush is open for you. But this is, I think it's something exciting about solo lane, where I think the builds are open up now a lot more. There's the boot starts. You can go the Warrior's Blessing. Guardian's Blessing is being picked up by a lot of them. This Berserker Shield adds some new depth. So now there's more options, more flexibility for our solo laners to build how they want to actually play it, along with the fact that there's more picks viable there now as well. So I love it.
And Get On My Level hasn't picked up a relic quite yet. He's going to wait and see what he needs in this spot. Maybe he doesn't need teleport to get back to lane, and he can afford to go for something like a sprint or a horrific emblem or something along those lines to try and get kill potential in this lane without use of teleport.
One more thing to keep an eye on to hop over to the duo lane of this is that Apollo is one of those hunters that can kind of make a case for Silver Branch, I feel like. With his passive, the Audacity, he's able to go into that boosted attack speed so easily without having to build quite as much attack speed as some others. How do you feel about that item's viability? Is there a chance we see that coming out here for Kamiru? How do you feel about it?
There is a chance, yes, and you're right. Apollo, if I'm going to be buying Silver Branch, Apollo is one that I'm looking at that with. But I still feel like you want so many different things as a hunter that your 6 slots. Hunters often feel like characters that need more item slots. Like, as a mage, I really don't feel like I ever need more than 6 items. Sometimes I'm, no 6 item is really great here in this spot.
Yeah, it's usually really luxury at that point.
Right. Whereas hunters, like, I can build 10 different items and feel really good about it. I just don't know that Silver Branch is one of the 6 best items I could buy, especially whenever you are guaranteed to get Devourer's Gauntlets, because those are really good. You need boots, so you're getting, so that's already a third of your slots taken up right off the bat. You need Executioner, so that's half of your slots. And now, am I going pen? Am I going crit? Am I going all attack speed with a Silver Branch? It's tough to say. I don't think I'd be picking it up right now. I think that against this
lineup in particular of Get On My Level, I think this is a great team composition to build crit into as long as you can get away from Bologna. If you can't get away from Bologna, then Pen is gonna have to be your option because the block stacks are so rough for crit. But if you're hitting Love and Bing Love and Maker Love, because apparently Get On My Level just loves to have matching names, then your crit options are just going to be a little bit better.
I really think there's a good chance for some blow-up potential in this squad. I'm right there with you. It just can be tough. You so often have to change your build path so much. If you're only playing around Audacity, then maybe you can do it without changing your build path. But if you go like Ninja Tab, you're losing power anyway. That's a little bit of trouble now. Coming out for Kepri. Mystic Rush dunks him right into the ground. First blood for Mashu Boys on the back of this Robin.
Rock10 got level 5 off of one little creep that died behind him in lane. I believe that was Kamiru who actually made sure that a minion died behind him and got a level 5. And without Mystic Rush, there's no way that Hikei falls in that spot. So a good recognition that you hit 5 at the right time and Zero takes advantage.
Closing up on that. He's going first item on Kile as well. Is going to be the caller from Wakwen. I guess up against the Morrigan and an Ao Kwong, right? That magic defense is going to be able to do a lot for him. So some recognition of perhaps who his opponents are. Able to get that finish to come right back in and do well.
I love the Enchile in this game. I would absolutely be buying it. Second item. I don't think there's any reason to buy it.
You saying boots
first.
are good?
I'm saying boots are good. Specifically in the role that's job is to move around the map as much as possible. Movement speed is valuable.
Probably something that you'd want is Quinn, on the other hand, going to look for Get On My Level. Still has that Eagles Rally available for him, but they're able to immediately chase it out in Execute Threshold, and it will land. Jake Pocket finds the second kill for Mashu Boys.
Good looking ult, though, from Get On My Level.
Brought in the dragon.
Brought in the dragon, but not quite good enough. There's that Enchile passive. Bing Love has to try and get away, but Maker Love is coming to support.
Yeah, there's 4 members of Get On My Level here. Transformation coming out from the Morrigan as well sets up the first kill for Get On My Level, and into the Athena who came to help, who gets punished.
Well, here's the big brain play that we didn't take into consideration. When Bluefish transforms into Robin, he's now slow because he doesn't have any boots.
It makes it easier to get away from him.
Exactly.
In that 1 in 10 scenario.
Exactly. That's what he was thinking about. Makes that Morrigan transformation a little bit less appetizing.
Yeah, ends up working not so much in their favor, as the kill does end up happening either way, and Bluefish is able to grab it. And isn't that just kind of how it works, too? The Athena's coming over to help out the Robin, who's probably a little too far forward, and you're the one who ends up dying. That's just the life of the support.
And only if she would have gotten, tried to hit shield wall and taunt and dash away, but then get silenced by the Enchile that he rushed. Who has it? Who has that? And then he presses tab and he realizes it's his own teammate. He's like, why didn't you get boots? I would have lived.
Yeah, that
would have been true poetic justice there.
Absolutely would have been. Well, it would have been very unfortunate, but doesn't end up working out. But this early start around this Robin seems to be working so far, right? We saw him gank over in the dual lane, hit 5 at an opportune time, and got that gank successful. It came right over to solo lane, able to punish the Bologna as well.
Robin is just a potent god right now.
He's good
in the jungle. He does a ton of damage, still has that ability to get out of situations where you feel like he should be dead to rights. Doesn't have the same level of protections that he used to, but I think he's okay getting it for all that damage.
Kamiru, see you later, buddy. Beads allows him to get right on out of there, and Maker Love can't find these last autos. Now, there's no movement speed available, leading right towards Bluefish's decoy, apparently, so Kamiru's able to lead.
31 HP. That's 30 more than he needed.
Easy for Kamiru. As Get On My Level's when he was actually in trouble. He got baited, Ryan, thinking that Apollo was in even a little bit of danger. It was really Get On My Level, the player who's now died twice with the Hunter's Blessing Berserker Shield rush up against Jake Pocket and Reflect.
This is, I think Berserker Shield is really good. I do not think it's get it before boots good. It's not as important to move around in solo lane as it is in jungle.
I think if you're in the 1v1, yes, but if you're getting sat on like this, then you're going to wish you had more.
Well, you aren't going to be in the 1v1 if the jungler sees that you have Gladiator Shield and says, hey, I can just come on over and force you to have a tough time escaping this. That's what competitive play is all about, right? Is identifying opportunities like that, and that is certainly an opportunity that you can take when you see that your lane opposition doesn't have any boots, and that their ultimate, Eagles Rally takes you a little bit of ways, but Mystic Rush covers that. Honestly, you could just overhead kick towards them. That increased movement speed you get during that ability is good as well. That makes it easier to catch up. I do think that this has been punished pretty nicely so far by Mashu Boys, and we'll see if they can get it one more time before Get On My Level finishes those boots.
But to be honest, I mean, I gotta wonder if this is not still some execution, right? I mean, couldn't some wards have helped out with this, where you just move back a little bit? It's not like he's getting rat ulted from a place where he'd not have any vision. Robin has to walk up to him.
Yeah.
I mean, Get On My Level has got to have a little bit more information on this. Some communication as well from the rest of his own squad about where they, or where from the rest of his squad about where Rockwen is in the jungle last time they saw him. And you can play around this a little bit safer, I think.
I agree with you, but if you're not getting boots and then you die, the thought process it usually isn't, well, I need wards. It's, well, I need to save my gold to get
That's
my
true.
boots.
I want boots.
Here we go again.
Get On My Level now getting dove underneath this tower. Mystic Rush and the execute comes through. Really no options available for Get On My Level as he gets removed and will now take his 3rd seat.
Very easily, basically, there by Zero and Jake Pocket. These two have really combined to get a huge lead so far for Mashu Boys on one side of the map, but the left side of the map hasn't really seen that same level of love quite yet. Well, I guess there is a lot of love over there with Maker Love in the duo lane.
All right.
Thanks. But yeah, Get On My Level is still okay on this left-hand side. They still have great late game potential with the Ao Kuang and Morrigan combination, but it is getting to the point where a Big Love needs to try and make something happen with this Ao Kuang and get an execute somewhere. Look for this Athena in particular, because Sixtuck is not going to be super tanky, especially with this Gauntlet of Thieves rush.
Yeah, we haven't seen a ton from this Ao Kuang, and I suppose that's not too surprising. Ao Kuang does feel like one of those gods that wants to get a couple items going, and once you let him do that, then he's kind of blowing you up. It doesn't feel like there's much you can do. And so far, he's kind of just been moving around the jungle, safely farming, very quiet, I feel like, from this early game Ao Kuang.
And that's what you kind of are expecting from Ao Kuang most of the time. I mean, we might be spoiled a little bit to see guys like Johnny, who are in the minor league for Optimus Gang, who are able to really make plays with this Ao Kuang in the early game pretty consistently, but that requires a really good level of character knowledge and matchup knowledge against everyone on the other side.
You know, Get On My Level, the player didn't have boots, but really neither did Rockwen, if we're being honest.
That's true.
He was in a scenario where maybe it would have mattered the least, and still couldn't make it out of there. Boots are finished for both of them now, though. Ninja Tabi for Get On My Level, 100% in on this like auto-attacking, in-handing Bellona build right now, centered around this Berserker shield.
Well, Ninja Tabi, even when Warrior's Blessing was the call, was still core on Bellona because of the Scourge healing that you get from the third
this is
auto
what he
attack.
wanted, yeah.
But the problem is now that this whole build for Get On My Level is about boxing Jake Pocket one-on-one. But you can't win that when Jake Pocket is 3 levels above you.
Yeah.
You just can't. So this whole build has been derailed from Get On My Level, and now he's got to play it pretty safe, but his build doesn't really lend itself to that very well. He doesn't have a lot of protection. He has a lot of sustain when he's actually able to go one-on-one.
Rockwen recognizing there are indeed other lanes. Mystic Rush is going to land right on top of the Morrigan, but ends up getting saved, but pulled right into Final Judgment. The one noob finds the kill. Maker Love joins the party, only to find a stun, and we'll find nothing more here, but Rockwen still stepping forward.
Looks like Kamiru is thinking about joining the party as well, though he'll head right on back towards the duo lane. It actually lands on the Gold Fury.
I like it.
To get that started up. Now, no Final Judgment here, but there is an Athena ult if necessary.
And meditation to keep everybody topped up, but a Big Love, Hickey, Maker Love all on their way. Gold Fury incredibly low. Mashu Boys do secure it, but now Kamiru's got to run for the hills. Execute threshold for Sixu, and now chance for a double kill if he can find him. Kamiru just barely makes it back under the tower.
Man, Bing almost with that double kill. That would have been huge for the Ao Kuang to be able to pick up both in that spot, but it is still good for Get On My Level to get a Bing something in the terms of the execute. I mean, the extra magical power and lifesteal is so key, but a risky call by Mashu Boys to go for that Gold Fury, but it ends up working out.
Get On My Level, NXU Threshold jumps right over it and brings the dragon down. Hickey is going to be the one that finds the kill in the Jake Pocket, and now Sixu, who only just returned to the land of the living, in a little bit of trouble and has to run away. Pyromancer for Get On My Level.
Well, that's one way to turn it around. One noob there with a stun, but that's a big play by the Bellona, the solo laner for Get On My Level. To get up and over that execute and get a kill on the Jake Pocket simultaneously is huge because it keeps him on the map, and that was a huge bounty claimed by Get On My Level to get that kill onto the very farm Achilles.
Yeah, that's one of those plays that Get On My Level tries to make all the time. We don't have to see a ton of these players, but when we watch Get On My Level play, he's trying to make highlight reel plays like that all the time. They don't often land for him, but he's always shooting for the stars, and I like it. And that he ends up getting the jump right over Jake Pocket, lands, and able to help find the kill from Hikae, and they end up winning that fight on the Pyromancer. They did lose Gold Fear right before it, but Get On My Level starting to answer back now.
Little bit, and that's critical. Now, Get On My Level is still 3 levels down to Jake Pocket.
Oh, I meant the team, sorry.
Yeah. I meant the player.
Right.
Sorry. Yeah, so the player is down 3 levels right now to Jake Pocket, who actually can't get on his level because you can't lose levels.
Right.
You can only gain them.
You can't get down to...
What if you could like strip away buffs and they would de-level your opposition?
That'd be pretty cool.
What
right? Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure some games have it where if you kill them a certain way, they'll, like, lose level or, like, lose rank or something like that. So maybe, like, if it's, like, a kill that just shouldn't happen, like a solo Ganesh kill or something, and he gets the credit for it, you just, like, lose a point out of one of your abilities or something.
You just lose XP.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
That would be pretty crazy.
Bing, though, on his way here, Get On My Level, needs help as he has all game long. Eagles rally, not going to save him from the wrath from Jake Pocket. And now there's Athena here as well to add to this chaos happening in the solo lane. Taunt brings the Kepri back in, still has the ultimate available, but doesn't feel the need to use it, and will fall back.
Bluefish is on the way, though, as is Maker Love. That Living Nightmare brings him back to the fight, but immediately Mashu Boy trying to turn it around.
And Bing Love finds an execute of his own. Now it's Raquin, who's quite low. He's going to come back down on top of the one noob instead. Finds a double kill. Raquin on the backside looking for Bluefish, but Scare's blessing keeps him alive and finds the return kill. Now Kamiru's here, but a triple kill for a Bing. A day aside for Get On My Level over here in the solo lane.
Great fight for Get On My Level, and that's where Alquag, man, you can keep him down for a good amount of time. You can make his life difficult, but eventually he's going to do that to you if you let him. And it all starts off with a beautiful execute in the middle of everyone onto Jake Pocket. But Finch, I'm worried that they can't do this fire. Okay, with Get On My Level here, this should go down. I don't think Maker Love and a Big Love could have brought enough love to solo the Fire Giant, but that is huge. What a turnaround for Get On My Level, and just like that, they are in control.
Yeah, and what a difference that Bluefish and Hikae make in that fight as well for my money. Bing does certainly find a ton of damage there, but it's the Scarab's blessing that Hikae finds that really is big in that fight. Bluefish comes over and puts in a lot of his own damage, kind of brings them low enough for a Bing to finish those targets off. Yes, Get On My Level one more time, gets hard committed on, but finally it ends up being a 5-for-1 in his team's favor.
Huge, and this is where having one lead on your whole lead centered around one lane and one player in particular can be dangerous, and it makes you feel like you're more ahead than you are, especially when he's the first one to fall on your side, on your team. Then it makes the team fight go a lot more easily for the other side. But I don't like how Get On My Level are split up right now. They should be grouping with this Fire Giant while they have it and try and get this Gold Fury. I'd like to see Get On My Level rotate over the player towards this Gold Fury.
Yeah, right now they're positioning as if they want to play it maybe a little bit more defensively with this. Now a Bing is going to come join the duo lane. Got to be careful though, Raquin's on his way as well. It'll be a 3-man group for this tier 1 and left, but Mashu boys are here for the defense. This will not by any means be easy. Now Bluefish is on his way to come try and join the party on the left side, which will be the target, and they're going to keep Jake Pocket all the way over in solo, the biggest lead for Mashu.
Yeah, that's good, but I still feel like...
Whoa!
Okay.
Kamiru had beads.
Sorry.
Used them at the very last second. Decided that was probably too late. It definitely was. It looks like that did force teleport over from Jake's Pocket, but Get On My Level will head back towards the Gold Fury.
Frostbound Hammer really going all in on this auto attack build.
There's no sprints on the other side for Mashu Boys, so that does make it a lot more appealing. Not...
Is he tanky enough, though? I don't think at all, right?
No, he's definitely not tanky enough. There's no way he's tanky enough.
Especially because he's behind in experience. He's going to get blown up as Gold Fury now at half HP. Jake Pocket walks in casually as you like. Taunt lands on the Get On My Level, who is indeed getting chunked. But it's actually Raquin now who's in a little bit of trouble, but a Bing gets stunned out, can't keep the chase. Get On My Level are still controlling the Gold Fury pin.
Kamiru's up and ulting back over across the sky, coming through, and he's looking for a target.
He has to go in. Jake Pocket has already started this fight off. They do have one target incredibly low, but so is Jake Pocket. Execute threshold there, and one noob is the one that ends up finding the first kill, but Gommel, the player, finds one in return.
Bing gets another good execute there. It's now Kamiru trying to stay alive this time around, but Bluefish there, stun mezzed out nicely, but a
Silver
good
Branch.
pluck by Hikei. Kamiru does fall.
Not able to get enough there. A Bing is continuing to be a nightmare for Machi Boys. 7-0-4, unchecked in these fights at this point. Gold Fury being left at one more time. It's up to Siksu and the one noob to try and defend. Bluefish avoids the evade and punish. Gold Fury below 2,000 HP, not going to be in range. Get on my level, should be able to have this one, and they will indeed secure.
No matter the outcome of this game, Machi Boys should ban Alquag next game, because they clearly are having a little bit of trouble understanding how to play around it in these team fights, how it has to be the priority target.
Right.
Especially with the build that a Bing has, he really needs to be getting off auto attacks in the middle of the fight. If
Yeah,
he
he's
wants to
not
be
doing like the burst build.
Right,
Yeah.
it's the stick on you and kill you quickly build, and it does do that if he can stick on you, but he's been able to get in and out of these team fights so easily that it's caused real problems for Machi Boys. And even if they end up winning this game, it was because of the Alquang that it took them longer. And so I think Alquang for certain players is ban worthy right now. His late game it's so easy to get to your mid game fairly safely in the current jungle layout, very different from previous seasons where you always have jungle camps up, really can't invade speed very easily.
Right.
That I think that late game hyper carries like Alquang are sometimes too much to handle, and if my team struggles with it or an enemy player is very good at it, I think it's something that you need to ban.
A lot of interesting build paths coming out from Southeast Asia. That's part of why I enjoy watching them. We are seeing the Silver Branch come through for Kamiru. Like you said, we're getting the attack speed build coming out from a Bing. Looks like we are seeing the mash, which has become more common on these Morrigans, as Jake Pocket the one now under siege in solo lane, to try and give him some of that extra movement speed with Spirit of Desolation to follow up as well. Just some stuff we don't always see.
No, but I think that the one that stands out the most to me is still get on my level's Frostbound Hammer instead of some extra protection. The Silver Branch bow, he's probably hitting attack speed cap with the Ninja Tabai after getting Audacity passive now.
Yes.
Once he finishes off the Executioner, those 5 shots of Audacity are going to hit really, really hard, but you got to make them count. You get 5 increased power shots, basically, and hopefully he's able to make them all count.
Kamiru is actually significantly far behind. I didn't even realize that he had such an experience deficit he was grappling with up against Maker Love, about 3 levels behind the Chernobog, who 1-1 and 10 has just been in almost every fight so far, or his ultimate at least got him assist credit as Jake Pocket comes in. Bluefish in some trouble, but they don't have any more control for him. Fatal Strike used defensively from Jake Pocket, and he will fall back.
Kamiru had to use Across the Sky, though, just in case, and you know, I was just saying that the Alquag is probably worthy of a ban. I think Maker Love's Chernobog needs to be banned as well, or taken away at the very least, because he's looking for a little bit more now onto Kamiru.
Kamiru, that forced out the defender of Olympus as well. So far, get on my level, being able to force cooldowns from Machi Boys without having to commit much on their own. Bluefish now is going to be using the Chernobog ultimate as well on Morrigan, but not getting much else out except for the actual transformation. As Siksu finds one taunt into Hikei, he will indeed be the target, but a Bing now going to try and stick on the target. Can't find one. It's Bluefish who's in trouble, but Aegis keeps him alive.
Final Judgment a little bit wonky from the one noob, and Bluefish and Hikei get away with fairly low HP. Hikei did need to use that Scarab's Blessing on himself, though, so that means that this team fight could go easy.
Maker Love beads, keeps him alive. Get on my level, boxing underneath the tower up against her Quen, but this tier 1 is just not sturdy enough. It will come tumbling down. Advantage Machi Boys, despite the fact that it's been get on my level with the lead for the last few minutes. They group up and force down a tower.
Machi Boys just seem to have that air of confidence about their play that Get On My Level still really needs to find. Even when Get On My Level had the Fire Giant in their favor, it took them a while to group up, but they only got a Gold Fury out of it and a tier 1 tower and left. That's just not enough.
Now, could it be because, I mean, who can start the fight the way that Machi Boys can, though, right? Maybe that's why. They can have the Athena dash in. Rakuen as well can kind of walk in and absorb some cooldowns. I mean, a Bing and Bluefish can't do that, and really, neither can Get On My Level, at least not the way he built so far.
That is true. The initiation for Get On My Level isn't great. You're basically looking at a Khepri Abduct on a frontliner or a long-range Solar Flare on you know, someone that doesn't have their dash up or whatever it is. Khepri is so good at a lot of things, but initiation just really isn't one of them. And so I do think that's why Get On My Level are a little bit gun-shy at times, but still, if you have Fire Giant and you just want a big fight and you know enemy team's relics are down, that is the perfect time to start to put on the gas, and they didn't at that time. And so that tells me that it isn't just about their composition, and it's more about their mindset in this game.
And even with that gap in their composition, you have Morrigan. She fills those gaps, right?
Sure.
If your team is hurting for initiation, maybe Bluefish needs to turn into Sixu, turn into Raquel, something like that, and then get that ball rolling for the rest of your team and let that Morrigan damage come on the back end. I'm right there with you. I agree. I thought that they had that gap, but I mean, I don't know. I want to not give them that out anymore if you're going to play Morrigan, because that's part of why you have her.
And normally Bologna's an excellent initiator.
Yes.
With Eagles Rally, but with the build for Get On My Level, it makes
Yes.
it a little bit less appetizing. But when you can stack 2 of them on top of one another, you Bologna ult and then Morrigan ult, Bologna ult, that is just a stupid amount of physical protection and physical power boost in one area that would really be difficult for Mashu Boys to fight in.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Get On My Level certainly have the tools. If they can get it out of Bluefish, who, for what it's worth, has played well for them in the role he's fulfilled so far, this looks like much more like the fight they want, though. A pick onto Sixu if they can find it. They don't have enough damage to bring down the Kepri, who will be able to make, or rather the Athena can make it right on out. But now Jake Pocket is the target.
Good execute idea, but Bing's got a better one. Bluefish able to bring down Seek, and now Raquen's got to use a purification beads. Bing will get himself a double kill very easily. Get On My Level. And you're right, all starts with a really nice Kepri abducts right underneath red buff that makes it easy for the rest of Mashu Boys to funnel into a little area and fight Get On My Level in a spot where they don't want to.
Now, a chance to try and force down the Phoenix on the left-hand side. Only one noob and Kamiru around for the defense, and the immediate dash in from Bing is going to force one noob out and take away his beads. Phoenix on the left-hand side, heavily under siege, and Kamiru and no one noob. They don't have enough to force him back. That's an easy Phoenix for Get On My Level and 3 kills. They might even go grab these towers in mid as well.
I think if I'm Get On My Level, I'm backing here and heading straight to fire and trying to force another engagement because they didn't really use very much. I mean, a blink from a Bing, sprint from both Hikei and Get On My Level, and the med from Hikei. Outside of that, there really wasn't that much used. Ultimates, sure, but those will come up soon. Whereas Mashu Boys beads down on Raquel and the one noob. Ultimate still down for the one noob. He used it very late in that fight around that Phoenix siege. So you've got plenty of time now with the advantage in resources if you're Get On My Level. And it's that mentality of you got to keep the pressure on in these sorts of situations. You can't let the enemy team kind of regroup and find their bearings. You get a turnover, you immediately throw the deep ball. It's the best way to do it.
Try and catch them, while they're still reeling from that last blow. I do kind of like this idea, though, from Seek stuff here. He's gone with the Midgardian mail, and that's in response, I got to think, to all this attack speed that's coming from really the entirety of Get On My Level, from the Bologna, the Alcong, and Maker Love.
Yes, I do like this Midgardian as well, plus the Heartward Amulet to try and save everyone from that Alcong burst damage and the Morrigan burst damage. I think that Seek has done a good job building so far. Last thing that he really, the next thing rather that I think he should be getting is a Spirit Robe to try and prevent that, what we just saw happen to him, which is he gets abducted and loses half his HP and starts to fight out poorly for his team.
Fire Giant absolutely was confirmed there by Get On My Level, and they've got plenty of towers to go take down. 2 still remain in mid. The tier 2 still remains over in solo lane. They should be able to grab it without any trouble. Looks like Mashu Boys aren't trying to defend those towers. They're going to farm where they can. Kamiru grabbing the tier 2 in duo, and should be able to get this one before Bluefish can make it, but can he leave? I don't think he knows he was there. That's a good mess that comes out. Bluefish losing the trade. In fact, now they're bringing in Sixuk as well.
Bluefish can just ult over, but he got support from his own side. In fact, it's Maker Love who's coming on over and gets that kill out of Kamiru.
Able to make that 2-for-1 work, or 2 against 2 work out in their favor. Now it's Sixu in some trouble, and Bluefish is way too fast. Should be able to catch up with this Athena. In fact, they've got Get On My Level coming in for the flank as well. And Athena, we hardly knew you. You will certainly die here eventually.
No way for him to get away. Dark Omen confirms it for Bluefish. That Bumba's Mask makes it easy to chase him down, but that did take a lot of time from Get On My Level's Fire Giant. I mean, that was basically a full minute wasted. Maybe not wasted. They get 2 kills, but they don't. They do lose beads from Bluefish and his ultimate. Maker Love uses his ultimate. Mashu Boys probably can't contest either of these towers, but Kamiru will be up in time for a Phoenix defense, and that might be the time to try and make something happen.
Mid tower, tier 2 absolutely will come down. It looks like Mashu Boys are going to look for some poke here, but no real defense on it. Absolutely, the Phoenix is going to be the call. Kamiru will be here for it. Sixu still another 10 seconds away, and really no relative for Kamiru anyway once he does join in, so he has to be careful as a Bing takes quite a bit of poke. Get on my level wants to go in for the next wave, but they'll wait on some more minions.
Man, Jake Pocket had such a huge lead in this game, and now he's sitting at only level 18. He has no stacks on that High to the Urchin, and once you get High to the Urchin stacked, you basically feel invincible. I mean, you take so little damage between the amazing protections you get from it on both sides and that health shield once you're out of combat. That adds up pretty quickly. But to be sitting at a High to the Urchin with 0 stacks, you kind of feel like wet paper. He took a ton of damage from just a couple auto attacks from Maker Love.
Gets punished by this Chernobog, which is having a good game so far. Really, the damage is coming from enough sources to really make it difficult for Mashu Boys to try and defend against it correctly, right? Bluefish has the poly in there as well, so plenty of damage coming from base Morgan just as a mage who's able to sneak around and whatever she transforms into. A Bing has been getting lost in these team fights and finding a easy damage as well, and you already highlighted Maker Love. Mashu Boys so far don't have the answer.
But again, Get On My Level have a power play right here, and they just are kind of twiddling their thumbs, not doing a whole lot. I mean, you should be on this Phoenix as it respawns every time. There's no reason to be anywhere else right now. This is the most important thing on the map, is this left Phoenix. Items, whatever, don't care. You should have gotten them beforehand. And if you don't have them, you got to be here. And now the Phoenix is already up to about half HP. Your fire minion wave won't be there with you anymore. That makes it very difficult to stop it. This is probably their last fire minion wave. This is... there's still clearly a lot to learn for Get On My Level.
30 seconds of this buff remains for Get On My Level to try and force
They have
their
one
way
shot,
in.
basically.
They basically got to get it done right here, right now. Magai's cloak is popped by Get On My Level. Taunt does come in to Maker Love. No beads in response to it. Jake Pocket is on the backside, but so is Get On My Level. A Bing right there with him, and they find 2 quick kills already. One noob has to fall back to the Phoenix, but Raquin's going to go back the hard way as he gets deleted. The one push worked from Get On My Level, and now they're in the Titan room.
It did, and they can probably end the game off this.
And a great comeback from Get On My Level. And both a Bing and Maker Love did it, though I don't know, Finch, can they end?
It's very low. Get On My Level's going to keep putting in damage onto it, so is a KE. Bludgeon should do it. Get On My Level will indeed win the game up against Mashu Boys. It was not easy, but they find the W.
And again, that Ao Kwang pick for a Bing was phenomenal. The Love twins, basically. Maker Love as well. I think if we're doing MVP, the Ao Kwang deserves it because it was the one team fight in solo where he gets the triple that turns this whole game around. And that is the only reason to Get On My Level win this game. But Maker Love as well just had a beautiful performance. He was a part of almost every fight that he needed to be a part of, was so consistent on this Chernobog, was able to turn the game around as well. But those 2 picks, I think Ao Kwang and Chernobog, if you switch those out if you're Mashu Boys, you cruise to a victory.
And that fight in solo lane is so important, and you're exactly right. Not just because they win it and so handily, but because that's where all the lead was, essentially. On the back of that Achilles and the Robin who'd repeatedly ganked Get On My Level over there in the solo lane. So once they lose all of that lead, they're right back to even, if not in Get On My Level's advantage, because now they have this Ao Kwang that's been free farming all game long as he finds an excellent way to clean up this team fight here in the solo side.
And they get Fire Giant right afterwards, right? Because they're right there. Now, they didn't do a lot with that FG, but it was enough to get the momentum back in their favor. And this team clearly team fights very well. They have a good sense of where they need to be as individuals in the team fights and what targets they need to be hitting. That's clearly there for Get On My Level. They need to understand the macro game a little bit better, where to be at the right times, how to play the map when you have a lead, things like that. Because if you get a lead against a really good SPL team at an international LAN, you have to be able to keep it. And clearly Get On My Level needs some work with that.
Yeah, if you lollygag around a little bit like we saw there, they'll be using that time to close right back up to you and just get that much harder for you to actually close that game out. But that's game 1. Game 2, picks and bans about to be underway. Mashu Boys got to find a way to regroup. And if you're Mashu Boys, in all honesty, maybe you're not feeling too bad. You had a good early to mid game there. You can kind of chalk it up maybe to 1 or 2 team fights that get a little bit away from you and try and make those adjustments here in picks and bans.
Sure, I agree. Now, I think a lot of teams in a game like that, the logical step is, yeah, let's not feel too bad. We should have had it. But usually those hurt worse, the ones you should have had. And so you have to have that voice in your comms that is like, hey, it's cool. You know, we lost that. Probably shouldn't have. We'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Let's just get this next one.
Naja and Baron getting banned out and just getting informed her, it looks like Get On My Level had to be subbed out here in this game. So it's going to be Apex, who I believe has played with this team before in some capacity, so he'll be coming into the soul lane for them. Get On My Level not going to be there this time. I wonder if they're going to be going the Bologna attack speed heavy, Frostbound, Hammer build path as well. Curious to see.
Freya is open, and that's where Get On My Level are going to go. And that Chernobog, it's Chernobog and Morrigan, which is interesting. Bluefish played well, but I don't think the Morrigan is what set that team up for success. I really do think it was the Ao Kuang and the Chernobog. We're going to get our first chance to see Pele.
There we go.
Excited about that. And I wonder if Get On My Level are going to go back to that Ao Kuang. I think I would if I'm on their side.
Yeah, absolutely. Bing had it and made it look so strong. But now they're going to be adding in the Geb as well. So that's a lot of safety and a lot of early game pressure they're going to be able to grab from this Pele. I'm wondering, if you go with the Ao Kuang, who has to be a little bit more passive early, does Pele have an opportunity to maybe bully him around a bit?
I think so, and that, I think, contributes to why we see Serket. But at the same time, man, picking Serket into Geb is...
It's tough.
It's rough, man. Geb does everything that Serket doesn't want to go up against. It cleanses CC. It gives a health shield to make sure that Last Breath isn't a guaranteed kill all the time. That is confident to pick Serket into Geb, I'd say.
And Serket is so execution dependent. I don't mean literally an execute. I mean, you got to get the Cobra's Kiss Deathbane auto attack to follow up, right? And that's where all the damage comes from. You would like to put Last Breath in there too. And Geb can be so disruptive. He can just ruin your chain, give that second someone needs to get away. It really is a hard matchup. So we'll see if this Serket can make the most happen for it, as Mashu Boy is going to grab an Uller to pair with that Pele. If that's mid-jungle, which I think is a possibility, that certainly could be a tough to deal with in the early game.
That'll be interesting how that Freya Uller matchup goes. The problem, I think, for Uller in that matchup is if you get banished while in bow form,
right,
you have to take you're taking 2 to 3 auto attacks before you get out of that situation by switching stance and leaping away. And that's why I think this Freya matchup can be a little bit rough for him.
Yeah, it's part of the Uller's big drawback, right? If he's the one doing all the damage in the fight, if he's kind of starting it, then it's no big deal. But if he's got to switch that stance and try and get away, then you have that opportunity to punish him a little bit as the Sobek comes in, who will, I imagine, be serving up some of these tasty targets to Pele and Uller on a silver platter. Likely our solo laner, though, so won't be happening right away as Neath Tier comes in for Get On My Level.
This is interesting, I think, for Mashu Boys to switch so heavily from great pressure to Sobek solo.
Yeah.
The exact antithesis of that. And this feels like a little bit of an overreaction, I'd say. So, no, it's got to be like Pele mid, right?
I guess so at this point, right? Because who else can you... Yeah, where else can you put it?
I don't know.
You definitely want to have him in the jungle. Maybe a Wheelish mid. I feel like Pele is so strong in the jungle. Would you want to take her out of there? That's where I'm leading.
Probably not, though we have seen a Wheelish mid before. Baskin played it. The Delta Marine played it as well on console. I know he'd be mad at me if I didn't say it. So I think that there's some potential there, though I do expect Pele, maybe Pele ADC and Uller mid.
Yeah, that could be the idea.
Could be realistic. But going back to this pressure solo and then going to solo back, I think that it is the wrong reaction. And instead of saying, okay, that sucked, but let's just do what we did well again, they switch it.
Well, immediate fight happening as the taunt is going to bring in 2 members. Jake Pocket gets controlled by Apex Fearless. Just a little bit too strong. First blood for Get On My Level.
Now, Hikei did get taunt, and that's tough that you lose that level 1 clear ability. Now you have reach to clear the wave. But to get first blood onto Jake Pocket, especially to give it to Apex, is very helpful. And Apex picks up Blink right away, and that was a huge difference in that spot. It is Pele in the mid lane for the 1 noob, so we haven't seen a lot of Pele yet in general. We'll see how it goes in the mid.
Starting with the 2, is that right?
Starting with the 2. That feels not... That is not what I would have done. I'll put it that way, because it is such a small area.
It really is.
As you rank it up, it gets huge, and I do think that prioritizing leveling the 2 isn't a horrible idea, but the 1 clears the way very, very well, and you have 2 charges of it.
Yes.
I feel like I absolutely would have been leveling that first ability.
Yeah, well, we could talk a little bit about Pele. That first ability, as you said, does have the charges on it that she can work with. She builds up 2 over time. She throws it out, and it does the return damage as it kind of returns back towards Pele. The second ability is that big knock-up that grows in radius as she levels it up. It is kind of slow. It can be hard to hit people at the max range, I feel like, unless they're already kind of stuck near you, but it is a pretty significant knock-up. The 3 is the interesting one, her like movement speed power buff that she gets based off of her, her heat stacks, or her heats, not stacks, that she can kind of use as fuel to move throughout that as well. Pele, very, very interesting, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do with it in the mid lane of all places, as Kamiru in some trouble has to use beats.
the horrific emblem pickup by Hikei forces it. Still, Seek might end up falling here. He's got to get some jukes on, and there are limited shots here for Maker Love, very low on mana.
That's right. He's going to have to go build back up that mana with a melee stance. He should be coming in relatively quickly. She builds it fast. Kamiru can't find the axe or the bladed arrow, and Maker Love ran out of mana, can't find the last shot, so Kamiru just barely lives.
That one hurts for Maker Love, and here comes Requen, has potential to try and make it happen on this left side, does have that blink, and looks like Maker and Hikei know something's going on, but here comes the blink, misses that Moonlight Charge, good taunt from Hikei.
There you go.
Feather Step not on the target that had kill potential, but Maker Love's health pots had helped him to the point where there really wasn't kill potential anyways.
Plus, the minion wave was still there, so the Seek and Kamiru weren't trying to help with that gank at all. They were clearing the wave, so not really much chance, I think, for Requen there at all, as Jake Pocket has kind of bullied his way right back into this solo lane matchup here up against Apex now. It's Apex is the one who's relatively low, though he is tier, so he can get that healed up without too much trouble, but Jake Pocket doing well.
This is what you usually see in the solo lane for a matchup like Tier versus Sobek. Sobek will control it for a little bit just because neither of them clear fast enough, and Sobek doesn't care about minion damage because he's Sobek and so tanky that he just kind of by default gets control of the lane. But as soon as Apex gets some levels, he's going to out-clear very, very heavily.
More good damage coming out onto Kamiru, onto C2 as well, but it's still mana constraints. That's hurting just a little bit here for Maker Love. Early game, as strong as Frey can be, she can't quite burn you down, it feels like, as fast as some other ones because she has so much mana to worry about. Managing it, building it back up at the melee stance, and balancing when to use the ranged and when to get that one big shot off with her first ability. That's where a lot of the best room for improvement comes.
Definitely difficult to get your management.
Oh,
in the right.
Jeez Louise.
In the right area.
Is anyone else in yet? Can we get anyone in here?
Oh, any other casters?
Yeah,
no,
I think it's
actually,
just
I
us
think
right
it's
now.
yeah, it's all day actually. It's just you
Oh,
and me.
good God! And
Actually,
we're starting like this.
everyone quit. It's you and me alone forever. Yeah.
Great.
It was like mana and management put together.
So at a certain point there, you decided I better go back in. That was the if we had a flow chart for that. If we had
I thought you might have lost the original joke in the joke about how we have to work together forever now.
Kamiru in some trouble. Gep shield very strong, but Kamiru in such a bad positioning spot that another kill going over to get on my level. Requen is going to come in, but can't find the knock-up. Seeksu incredibly low, but they're just going to turn their attention right to Requen. But one noob making the gank and finds the first kill from Ashu Boys, and there's that big ultimate, putting out those big cone autos as well. Now stuck in between a Bing and Hikei, but we'll be able to make it out.
Volcanic Lightning is such a cool ultimate.
It's so cool!
And it has everything to do with how lightning is the best element.
But the sound is great as well, too, off all the shots.
Yeah, the auto attack, like booming thunder that comes off of it. I love it. It covers such great distance, and that's where Pele can be very good, is that he easily out-rotates Bluefish.
Absolutely. And we have to talk a little bit about where Pele kind of finds her stride, because she is still very new, right? And it feels like it's this early game, but she can have some troubles in late game fights because she is so reliant on being close to those auto attacks, and she can't escape that well. She's reliant on movement, like movement speed, and not so much like jumping or dashing only on her ult. Does she really have that big movement ability? Where does Pele find her stride in these team fights?
I think it's pretty dependent on what you're leveling. I'm a big fan of leveling Eruption right now, the 2, to get the bigger AoE on the knockup. And I think as soon as you max that, it's very difficult to contest you. As Kamiru finding it difficult to contest in this duo lane, he's under consistent pressure, and this is all in the name of getting Freya ahead, which is not a bad idea whatsoever. But I think that Pele, like level 11, 12, that area, she becomes very difficult to contest. But if you try and box her one-on-one in the late game, you're going to have a tough time because of that passive, where she drops below 50% health. She gets a lot of physical power and just an absurd amount of lifesteal. Like, an absurd amount of lifesteal.
And it's supposed to make up for the fact that she does have to be in close, right? You do have to be close, but if you're trading at least, she can try and kind of like sustain through there and get off enough damage to maybe live through, but it's such a difficult line to walk. I get asked all the time, what are assassins supposed to be doing, you know, like in late game sieges where I can't gank the way I could earlier on and my role kind of changes. A lot of the times you kind of are the one that breaks off a little bit, try and pull someone else over with you, and Pele in that 1v1, when she pulls someone else over, she feels really good, man.
She does. Yeah. She definitely does. The ultimate hits like a truck. Very difficult to contest.
So more trouble here in the middle lane as the ultimate comes out from Requent, able to get the beads out from Bluefish without much trouble. This is one more thing I like that Get On My Level did, and I hope this is why they did it. They probably couldn't have if you're going to guess that Pele goes mid, but Neith can somewhat keep up with those much faster rotations from one noob, right? Because at least she has the ultimate to have some impact at the fight that she can't physically be at.
Exactly. That does definitely help. As Big Love just crushed in the mid lane, and it's the one noob with the Pele mid double kill. That lightning auto attack ends up getting him the double. God, that ult's so sick.
Yeah. If you had any questions about what Pele's impact could look like, where you're getting some answers here now, as the early game certainly does feel like Pele just kind of runs it sometimes, and one noob doing a good job of it. Now, coming to mid lane and fighting around the Pele certainly makes her job a lot easier, and one noob capitalizing well.
I do think that having Pele be a laner is a good thing to do. I think that Pele solo is pretty solid because that passive means that she's hard to box up against one-on-one. Her lane clear is not bad from the Pyroclast, which is the first ability. But I still think that I prefer her in jungle because her surprise gank potential with Blink is very, very high. Blink Eruption, if you don't have a movement ability, it's slow to go off, but it's fast enough, and it gets the job done, and it's so much guaranteed damage off of it that it is pretty potent.
Okay, certainly can't feel strong if she can land them early on, as so far, it's felt like Monster Boys in the mid lane has been on them. But to be fair, Get On My Level have had some answers. Remember, Apex got that early kill. Jake Pocket feeling the hurt. They dropped the ultimate, but Apex didn't continue.
No, because he knew that meditation was up for Jake Pocket and knew that that wouldn't have been enough.
I mean, if he's getting World Weaver, I don't know.
Yeah, if you dunk him there with Lawbringer right away, then I think you're right. He probably gets that kill.
They are going to dive onto Kamira on the left-hand side, who is able to jump away and make it right back out. But now one noob is here, but the shots from Maker Love are enough to deter even the Pele, who will indeed have to fall back. But on the rotations, Requin, he's going to find the 1v1 in the jungle up against a Bing.
That was a really nice Cobra's Kiss in response to the blink. That wasn't Serket's blink, that was the Awilish that blinked in, and a quick reaction time from a Bing gets him out of some danger.
Definitely could have been trouble, as I believe we also saw a Bing kind of turn around to make sure he didn't get knocked up right when the charge came out. So excellent play really for both those junglers. Couldn't find much. It's hard to say that I like the plays from both of them when nothing really ended up happening, but, you know, everybody makes it out when certainly there could have been some casualties.
Now Bing still on this left-hand side, though, looking for Kamiru, whose beads are down. He's in that ambush. I don't know if he knows he's there. He's going to walk right in. He knows.
Hits him with the axe, and that one doesn't quite end up working out as Kamiru gets hit by the last breath in response. Cataclysm hits two, so Requin going to use the Feather Step, but up into the air with Valkyrie's Discretion, and that will indeed put down the jungler.
Valkyrie's Discretion, still a good ability, by the way.
Still pretty good.
It was the same ability with old Freya. It's the same ability now, and they're both good. Taking yourself out of combat and doing a lot of damage in an AoE is, I like that if I'm playing Freya.
And right into the Bancross as well for Maker Love here. Bancross is one of those items that's very often poor on Freya. But we see a lot of Book of Thoth on her now as Kamiru can't find the axe. Is going right into the Bancross here, at least for Hunter Freya, the way that you just do that?
I think I would still prefer to see the Book of Thoth, just because Maker Love has had some mana issues so far.
Sure.
It feels like he could really use that extra mana, but he's also boxed a lot, and in that situation, Bancroft is also very good. You just have to manage your mana a little bit better, maybe some management in that spot to make it so that Bancroft is a better pickup.
And at this point, Kamiru really, wow, you're going to give me the look too, right? On the back end of that. Kamiru doesn't have any life still either, so maybe, you know, that could give him a bit of an advantage here in the boxing trade as Kamiru's gone with the Transcendence, which Ulers often do. Big power bank and plenty of mana there for him as well. Right into the Shoes of Focus, so a bit of cooldown coming out from Maker Love here on the back end to get those abilities off more often. I imagine that's mostly for, what, the ultimate and the one, so they can be up more often. Yeah.
Now, there is a delicate balance to be found between camping a lane and spending too much time there and hurting your own ADC. Maker Love is a little bit ahead, yes, but with how many people have been over in that duo lane, he's had to split so many waves, 2-3 ways, that Kamiru really isn't that far behind right now. So maybe just send over a World Weaver at this point and let him get some solo farm, and that's what we're seeing already. that Maker Love doesn't have anyone over on that side anymore, and that's a good idea, at least for the moment.
Bing is lurking in the jungle, but not looking for anything. It's Maker Love, who has some solo potential onto Kamiru. World Weaver came in for good measure, but Maker Love didn't need it. That's my solo kill, by the way, and he will happily take it.
Yeah, like I was saying, just let him do it by himself. It'll make Kamiru come up a little bit further, and at this point, Freya has that kill potential. Kamiru definitely should be respecting that damage more so than trying to take a boxing fight.
Yeah, there's a couple of hunters where their ultimates are just so confirmable that even if you're both low, it's their advantage. You know, Medusa, Rom kind of come to mind. Even Hachiman with the mounted archery. Freya certainly in that category, and Uller is not. So if we're both low...
What do you mean? He has his ult from level 1.
That's true. It's free for him.
That's OP.
Yeah, he's got it right away. So in that situation, you just got to respect it if you're both low. And also, I don't think they both were low, by the way. Maker Love
he didn't
comfortable.
get touched. Yeah, he didn't get touched. and that's where you, as soon as you get banished, you know you're probably getting close to dead.
Good job coming in with the ultimate, but Bluefish is going to respond with the beads. Cataclysm and one noob, of course, somehow finds the last shot and gets the kill credit there. 4-0-0 now for the Pele.
Didn't even commit that Volcanic Lightning ultimate, so...
They'd already used 2. Why put a third in there? Right?
Exactly.
More ultimates than...
Maybe going for a Soul Eater next? Can't imagine it's going to be Devourer's Gauntlets or Bloodforge.
Maybe
just early on.
Bloodforge.
I think that Soul Eater is an interesting idea. It makes that passive even stronger.
I gotta think it's... I know Bloodforge is expensive, but that's gotta be it, right?
I think it's Soul Eater.
Yeah, yeah, I guess I could see it, and she's got plenty of time to stack here in the middle lane, so no reason why that couldn't be the idea here. Is Maker Love wants to go in aggressive again, and Kay is going to be the one taking the tower. Horrific emblems there of Bing going to come in for support, but Maker Love is low, so is Kay, but they make it out no problem.
Good commit at that spot, especially with knowing how many people are over in Apex's lane, and it looks like Apex nearly killed Rakuen in that spot too, so...
This build for Apex isn't focused on protection against the Sobek in his lane.
It's more about just, I'm going to do a whole lot when people do come to fight me, and was then able to show it off there.
Gold Fury being looked at now. One noob is nearby and certainly has potential with that ultimate to cause some problems here. And yeah, get on my level, recognize, and they are going to leave. They're right to do that, I think.
I agree. That is the call, because if he hits Volcanic Lightning, hits you and the Gold Fury, and isn't able to keep Gold Fury leashed and just like hit the auto attacks that spread throughout your whole team, that would have been pretty tough.
I think it's the idea that we're at my level. If no one had come over, go for it, as Apex does still have that Lawbringer, so it should be okay, but no, Charge Prey lands and gets pulled right back in by Rakuen. Tailwhip not going to be able to find the knockup, but this should be confirmed. Rakuen going to find the kill.
I like how Rakuen lets Apex travel even further from the ultimate.
Not at the apex of the path.
Well, no, he still pulled Apex, but yeah,
but not during the apex of his actual travel time.
Yeah, I guess. Why would you say that word though?
Because his name is Apex.
I know, that made it confusing. Gold Fury, very low. Get on my level, get in though. Kamiru was trying to get that steal with the hail of arrows. Bluefish didn't need that Spirit Arrow confirmed. Neath actually has some of the better mid lane confirmed that you can have in the early game. I mean, obviously Rock and Kulkin are going to outscale you, but outside of that, Neath is kind of up there because you backflip and set up the weave right on top of where Gold Fury is, and then you hit the Spirit Arrow and the weave damage simultaneously. That is 600-700 burst damage, and not a lot of mages can really contest that, or really any character can really contest that at this point in the game.
Yeah, Neath finding a weave, it definitely is really where her real strength comes from, it feels like, when she's able to get one of those in the right spot in a team fight. But her opponent, one noob, very much indeed went with that Soul Eater and already has it up at 19 stacks, so should be very comfortable. But as you said, she'll be able to get plenty of extra sustain coming from that in these fights, especially off her, her first ability. She's able to get that in there, get a little bit of extra healing from that. So that's the path here from one noob.
Couple interesting build paths overall. It's the Soul Eater for the one noob, like you said. It's this Executioner third item instead of, which I think is very core, Crusher in that spot for Neath.
That is interesting.
It gives you pen, it gives you power, it makes your World Weaver do more damage because of the ticks. Your Root 2 combo does way more damage this way. Looks like Bluefish is more worried about his auto attacks, so I expect to see him using more auto attacks than you usually would see.
Why pick Neath then? If you want an auto attacker, I don't know, but Rakuen is going to be forced into the beads there in the middle lane. Had to use those Not the only ones with interesting build paths. Maker Love going with the Shaman's Ring, it looks like, for that third item. That's going to be
that was my next one. Yeah.
Nice, potent use of movement speed there.
Now, I will admit that I'm not sure on the interaction with New Freya and Shaman's Ring. If you use your one steroid, does that count as simultaneous damage and therefore would not get the Shaman's Ring proc, or would that get 10% extra damage for you? Would your auto attack get 10% extra damage in that spot? Would your pulse damage, or whatever it's called now, Aurora Blade, get 10% extra? All of those numbers kind of happen simultaneously, and so I don't know if you get if you get 20% for hitting 2-1 on the same target, then it's probably worthwhile. But if you don't, then it probably isn't.
One noob does get caught by the bandage, but the immediate turnaround
Look at that life
with
steal.
the ultimate is just so strong. One noob standing around boxing, but not going to be enough. Last breath will spread to Kamiru, who can't find the hail of arrows onto a Bing, and will indeed have to jump away. An easy kill, or not an easy kill, but a nice kill comes out from Get On My Level.
That life steal is pretty absurd, though, from the one noob, and that's before he starts getting ability life steal from this completed Soul Eater. It's interesting, but I think it can work. When you drop below 50% and you have Soul Eater and Pele passive, you are unboxable. You heal for your whole health bar.
Quinn gets caught by the Spirit Arrow. That forces him to jump. World Weaver right there to follow up, but they still can't connect those dots, and Quinn going to be able to make it right on out of there. They are going to try and turn their attention back towards Jake Pocket and Siksu, but they're both there. I don't even think they realize it, as a Bing is the one who's back, and he's the one that's lowest.
Link forward from Seek, and that'll bring Hikei
Wow.
right underneath the tier 2. Apex served up as well, but he has that Fearless in order to get back out of there.
Being able to hold on to the ultimate as well, so now it's Get On My Level looking for the disengage as Hikei gets caught out by the blink by Siksu. 200 IQ plays. Now Quinn following up on Apex. Now the Lawbringer comes out. Can't quite connect there with
Nice
Kamiru,
root.
so he will disconnect.
Nice weave root from Bluefish. Got 3. Wasn't able to do a whole lot of damage on the other side of it because there were 2 pretty strong tanks at that point in Geb and Sobek right in front of him.
I've liked Jake Pocket's rotations this game so far. Whenever he's a part of the fights, he is nailing these charge sprays and setting up for the rest of the team. And Quinn has been following up off of them perfectly, waiting patiently to drop the ultimate or looking for the Moonlight Charge on the back end of it as well. So far, when this Sobek is a part of the fights, Mashi Boys look entirely different.
It's what Sobek does, dude. He's just such an incredible team fighter. He's so hard to... I mean, all Tier does is CC, right? And Sobek still does CC better because he's got more forms of it. He's got so much displacement. He's so hard to lock down. It's no surprise to me that this Sobek has made the team fight for Mashi Boys go much better.
Kamiru gonna round out that third item selection there with the Aussie to try and find a way to slide in some life steal into this build and try and keep up with Maker Love, who's got the band cross already rocking and rolling. Some much you kind of gotta got, but I don't know, man. Aussie almost never feels good, but you got to put it in there. You know?
I have never been a big Aussie fan. Well, that's not true. When Aussie was insane, I was an Aussie fan. But as of late, I think it's almost better to just build for full pen and then pick up a late item Bloodforge.
Sure.
Just kind of accept that you don't have a lot of life steal.
That's going to be the idea from Kamiru to try and force it, as it's Mashi Boys who are positioning aggressively around the Gold Fury, forcing the dash from Hikei early on. World Weaver at least being thought about by a Bluefish, but there's no target. And they're not hard committing onto this Gold Fury yet. They're trying to force Get On My Level in. Bing will be the one who wraps around on the backside, but they spot it out and force him away.
Good job by a Bing, though, to keep that Magi's bubble up in that spot. Was able to Deathbane away.
Up in the air is Maker Love. They've made their target selection, and it is the one noob, Cataclysm, to try and keep him alive, but a Bing just too strong. Able to find that one rather nicely, but it's Apex continuing to look for more on the backside. He's got Kamiru in his sights along with Quinn, but can't lock him down. It's actually Jake that they grab with the banish.
Good shield, though, from Seek will get him some safety, but
Taunt.
another taunt right away. Jake still so tanky on that Sobek.
It's so difficult to lock anyone down, it feels like, on the side of Mashi Boys. They had one noob trapped with a positional advantage, but not so much control, and they were able to find that kill. Now they're going to move back towards the Gold Fury, but Bluefish gets caught in the backflip. Charge Prey right there to pull him back in as well, but Apex is so disruptive, there's no follow-up damage. Deathbane through, Kamiru still somehow skirting the line, and Apex can't chase him down.
Apex still wants it, but he's not going to find it. Taunt won't be there from Hikei, just too far away from Jake Pocket. And this is where that macro game, right, the discipline has got to be there from Get On My Level. That kill would have been great, but let's get gold. Let's get this objective because it's worth far, far more.
The R&D going to try and lock down Jake Pocket, though. Apex has him in that fearless combo right there waiting to make her love. But even still, Jake Pocket shrugs it off, brushes off his shoulders, and keeps on walking. Now it could be a little bit of trouble for a Bing as Cataclysm hits 3, and McQuinn's right there for the follow-up.
Seek doesn't fall to the last breath, but Maker Love does to Raquin. A double kill for the Machu Boys jungler. Hikei trying to escape on low HP. I don't think that's going to happen. A delayed triple for Raquin. And get on my level again. Just aren't focusing on what's important in the big picture, and that's the objective. They're chasing kills that are basically irrelevant when instead they could have gotten Gold Fury and been back farming on the map by now.
And I know it was Raquin that got that triple, but I mean, I'm going to lay that fight at the feet of Jake Pocket one more time because I'm pretty sure he absorbed everything and every available opportunity. He was landing those charge praise, being the disruption factor. They don't have an answer to this Sobek. They cannot kill him.
No, they can't. They just don't have the pen. Maker Love just now got some penetration with that demonic grip. It was basically impossible for them to kill him at that point. And Seeksuck as well had a phenomenal fight. His Geb shields were great.
That's true.
Buys a lot of time with the Cataclysm by purple buff towards the very end. He had a very impressive fight and just has that opportunity to try and turn the fight around. The frontliners for Mashu Boys doing plenty.
I think they did tons of work in that fight. And really, for both sides, despite, I feel like, all the control tools from on both sides, they're having trouble locking down targets long enough to really finish them off. Now, that might be, as you said, just the lack of pen that's come out on Get On My Level side. The same number of autos or follow-up onto the control they have will be more effective now with things like Titan's Bane in there at their disposal to sort of add onto it. But we'll see how that ends up working for them. So far, everyone in the whole game has been rather slippery.
There's plenty of mobility for Mashu Boys. That doesn't really surprise me. I mean, plus you add in a Geb shield on top of that mobility that a Willish and Sobek and Pele have. That doesn't surprise me.
Kamiru, though, does get locked down. Maker Love is there, but World Weaver had a say in that fight as well as they lock him down. And the Hunter will not be available for Mashu Boys for the next 45 seconds. Get On My Level. Not really much of a grouping. Instead, Apex just kind of lurking around. He will get plucked in by Jake Pocket, but again, what's this fight all about? I guess this red buff about to spawn.
Left side tier 1 as well. Maker Love is going to be the one pushing that. Would rather see Bluefish over there in duo while Maker Love is here trying to get red buff instead. Just more damage from the Neath, but no harm, no foul. They get it anyways.
Taunt on the Jake Pocket right into the Fearless to push him out of position. Last breath is on him, and this time they finally bring that Sobek down with the Deathbane combo. A Bing gets the kill credit, only 3 up. But they're positioning like they might want to defend this tier 2. They think better of it and give it up here to Get On My Level.
Difference has been the last 2 picks, no Geb there to save the life of his teammates. And I think that first pick is not Seeksuck's fault that Kamiru is kind of caught in a weird spot because of World Weaver. But there, Jake Pocket has either got to communicate that he's going to be positioning in that manner to try and get some cooldowns, or Jake Pocket can't be there at all. And so that seems like more of a communication issue than a positioning one. But again, 2 picks for Mashu Boys. They get a tier 2 this time, but tier 2 and mid felt pretty vulnerable to me. They had committed truly nearly nothing. It was just last breath and a blink out of Hikei. That was it.
But Get On My Level, they're not really forcing this fight. So they're kind of walking up to the door of Mashu Boys and saying, y'all coming out?
Right.
And Mashu Boys are saying yes. And they're coming out for some reason. Instead of kind of, barging their way in and forcing that fight to happen on their terms or creating a scenario where Mashu Boys have to leave or they end up giving them something important, they're just kind of standing in their jungle and Mashu Boys are like, yeah, we'll come over to that. Yeah, why not?
I agree with you. And now Mashu Boys can play the slow game again because they've got their relics and ultimates all available. They can take this a little bit slower.
And that is going to be the idea here from them. Force Get On My Level to pull an objective the right way and kind of pull Mashu Boys into a fight. Until that happens, there's really no reason for Mashu Boys to step forward, as this game is virtually deadlocked right now, 25 minutes in. Still even in terms of gold, only about 500 experiences even as well. There is a big dip in Mashu Boys' favor for a while, but that's been normalized out.
Very quickly, and so this is where, yes, there's not a lot of objective play going on, but I don't really blame either of these sides. Is quick beads from a Bing off of one noob's knockup. That's definitely a win for Mashu Boys, as Apex still going a little bit aggressive, kind of by himself in that spot. Though Hikei is just getting some farm and split pushing because he's Athena This is a very risky Fire Giant call. And it's such an even game without any real map pressure. This is risky.
Well, if they had set up to be baiting in for it, it'd be different, but it looked like they really were just trying to do it. But instead, they get forced off of it. Jake Pocket commits his ultimate. Hikei dashes forward, though, finds the taunt, ends up getting control, but it's Requen who comes in to make her love on the backside and deletes the Freya from the game. Bing is low as well and has to run away, but it's Apex trapped between 4 members.
If there was a time to not play aggressive around an objective, that was it. Get on my level, just kind of getting their wires crossed on when the right time to play aggressive around these objectives really is. You don't have a lead, you don't have map pressure. That is where you split up and farm until Gold Fury's up and try and make that be your difference maker, not try and force a 5-on-5 where you're just at a disadvantage because of the objective.
Kei, though, getting controlled and deleted. Requen finding one more kill in this team fight. Bing is going to try and take down Jake Pocket, but Seek is right there with the Geb shield, so he survives. Apex can't find anyone to control. In fact, Jake Pocket finds the pluck into the axe. In the hail of arrows, Lawbringer does get off, but right there for the follow-up, who else but Requen on the Oilish? 8-1-4 out of the jungle.
Man, Requen has played so well on this Oilish. It was a great pick in general. Knockups on their side, aplenty, plus leaps on the other. This is where that perfect counter pick it just feels great.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. Maybe Jake Pocket used to be a waiter because he is serving him up for the rest of his squad with no problems at all. Plucked right back in, easy kill. Fire Giant for Mashi Boys and the Pyro Man.
That was the get on my level conveyor belt right there.
Yeah.
Just one after the other, walking in one at a time, and that is the easiest way to not just lose a team fight but lose a game, because losing Fire Giant sucks. It puts you behind. Losing Fire Giant over a long period of time and 3 to 4 members over a long period of time, staggered deaths, opens up the map, makes it very easy for Mashu Boys to siege you. Your relics are going to be staggered pretty differently. Your ultimate timer should be staggered a little bit differently. All of those contribute to making it easier for Mashu Boys to now siege and get more off the map from you.
It's such a... I don't know if I 100% disagree with Get On My Level going for the Fire Giant there, because at best it was a 50-50, right? They had no advantage, but they went about it in such a weird way. It wasn't a bait to get the fight. They were truly just trying to burn the objective, right, without Mashi Boys coming in to defend it, and they did come in and defend it and kind of had the health advantage afterwards and just won the fight.
I think it was ideally a bait, and then
they didn't set up for it at all.
They didn't do a good job of it, is the argument. But I don't think they had the idea that, yes, we can do this.
Right.
They just executed poorly on the idea of let's bait this a little bit. I certainly agree with you there. It just feels like Get On My Level. They're coming up. They're team fighting well. They're coming up with all the wrong answers on the objective play. When it's time for them to push, they back up, they split. When it's time for them to split, they back up, they push, and that's hard to deal with.
Charge spray off the mark, and that does mean that unfortunately Jake Pocket's going to take a bunch of damage. I mean, they are going to take a bunch of damage on the back end of that, as he cannot land that pluck initiation to go in. In fact, that's enough for Mashi Boys just give up on this push entirely. Was that sort of failed initiation? They're going to come back and try and grab perhaps some of these tier 2s instead and push up the minions.
Get On My Level, thinking about going aggressive now. I mean, Blinken is down for Jake Pocket, and he's down to about 2/3 HP, but 2/3 of Sobek's HP is worth all of, the one noob's health bar, or more than that by a considerable margin. So he's definitely not in any real danger. Plus Fire Giant regen means Jake Pocket is back and healthy. So now Mashi Boys, they gave their go at the Phoenix, seeing if Get On My Level was going to be there. They were. And now they can head towards the towers, and I like this train of thought for them.
They're going to grab the red buff as well. One noob trying to put in some damage. Jake Pocket once again going to be that front line for the team at Charge Prey. Has been such an important tool for Mashi Boys. He needs to try and find one to land here right now, but Banish means that there can be some follow-up, but not much with Geb Shield right there to back him up.
That was a good amount of damage on the Apex from that Moonlight Charge, that Heartseeker proc. Ends up, it doesn't seem like a lot, but for a soul laner to take that much off a regular ability, noticeable.
Bing is going to go in first, try and get Last Breath off, but he takes a ton of poke in return for it. Apex can't follow up after that either, and that might have favored Mashi Boys, as now one noob is looking to blink in, and he's going to drop the ultimate right away for those big cone auto attacks. The knockup's going to land as well. Mashi Boys can't find any picks, but Tier 2 tower comes down, and they're ready for the Phoenix.
This is where Fire Giant sustain is so difficult to answer, because even though you are closer to your base, you are at such a massive disadvantage if you end up trading poke like these two teams have. Now tier 2 tower goes down without a fight. Fire Giants wearing off in 20, and Mashu Boys just seem to have a much clearer voice on what they're doing across the map. Their team fighting might not be quite as strong as what we've seen from Get On My Level, which is usually, those two are usually kind of hand in hand, team fighting and global pressure calls. But clearly, these two teams excel at two different parts of shot calling, and that where Get On My Level plays pretty well in the team fights, Mashu Boys much, much better at the macro.
You talk about that sort of disconnect in those team fights. I'm right there with you. It seemed like Bing saw something in that fight that no one else on Get On My Level saw, because when they were able to get, you know, some poke on a Jake Pocket, the Gev shield was down. He all in committed on trying to find a last breath target, and because of that, he gets so poked out. He can't really be in the fight anymore. He has to go all the way back to the fountain, and one noob, he just loops around that speed buff, comes in, finds a bunch of damage, forces them back. Easy tier 2 tower for Mashu Boys in the back of that, and they grab the tier 2 in solo. They don't get any Phoenix. His Fire Giant buff has fallen off, but now the door's open for them to just grab the next one and come down and force a Phoenix.
That's how you play these longer games and in these sort of drawn-out engagements. Like, Kamiru was bullied so heavily through the early game, right?
Yes.
And now he's playing an Ullr late game, which is not really where you want to be at any point. But it's still enough to put yourself in a position where the rest of the team can start to make plays. And even though there's a pretty early game comp for Mashu Boys, I mean, you've got a Willix jungle, Ullr ADC, Pele mid. Their front line has just been so unkillable that it hasn't really seemed to hurt them quite yet.
Jake Pocket again, a little off the mark of the charge. Prey, and Bing again is all in on the back of that. Last breath is going to come out onto the Sobek. Geb shield there, lurking in the waters there as well. So they commit to ultimates, only get one in return. Mashu Boys feeling comfortable still.
Just based on compositions, doesn't it feel like Get On My Level should be absolutely in control by this point?
Yes, with a Freya and Serket late game, yes. And Athena.
Like, you just have such better late game, but, well, at least your damage has better late game. Mainly just the Freya.
But there's going to be a little bit of trouble here now for Apex, as he gets absolutely locked down and destroyed. Kamiru gets the last hit. They find that kill. 5v4 in Mashu Boys' favor. And now they're going to consider going for this Fire Giant, and really just no chance to get on my level to defend. Not in the 4v5, not down this much gold this late in the game. They will just fall back, defend on their Phoenixes, and try and keep Mashu Boys from breaking down the doors.
I guess this answers why Mashu Boys decided to go for the Sobek instead of the pressure solo, because in game 1, they had a ton of pressure over there. Jake Pocket fell a little bit behind and the game was over from that point. It's the opposite story this time around, where Jake Pocket doesn't have a huge lead, wasn't behind, but didn't have a huge lead. The team was behind, then he joins fights and he just makes a huge difference, and that's been the difference.
Jake Pocket sinks up the tower. I think that was one more off-target charge Prey there. It looks like he blinked as well and just couldn't find it.
He got beads from Bluefish.
Yeah, got the beads off of Bluefish, so a nice win for him there. But Phoenix, still healthy. They can't find the target that they're looking for. Maker Love, right up at the front line, putting out some damage. But Mashu Boys happy to wait a little bit longer, sustain up with the Fire Giant. They don't have any minions here. There's none pushed up in the other lanes either. So they're just going to play this slow.
This is where sending Pele towards the mid or something like that is the idea. Jake Pocket, a full commit, but there's a Geb shield there for him as well. Apex pulled back in and brought down quickly by Kamiru, and Jake is fine.
Absolutely is going to make it right back. Sustain up with that Fire Giant buff, and he can just keep playing it slowly. Yes, he ends up being the target, but that's kind of what they want.
Yep.
If everyone's turning their attention towards Jake and pumping their damage there, and that means that they can just find one more target. This time it was Apex.
That is exactly what Mashu Boys want. Jake's going to sit here and wait for minions to spawn, use that Sickening Strike to get some health back, but he's already back up to full.
Going in is Raquel onto the Athena on the left-hand side. Pluck lands onto a Bing. Deathbane has to be used defensively. Phoenix now fully exposed and fully brought down. Mashu Boys is going to grab their first Firebird, at least over there on the right-hand side. They'll rotate right on over to the mid-Phoenix and try this all one more time. But a Bing and a KE want to say something differently this time, but a Bing can't last. Kamiru burns him down.
That Thunder Strike, basically, from the one new Volcanic Lightning did so much damage to Bluefish. That forced him and Maker Love back very quickly, as mid-Phoenix took a little bit longer to fall. No minions there on this left side either, so another potential engage here from Get On My Level.
Well, Apex may be back, but a Bing is down, so it's still a 4v5 in favor of the Mashi boys. They do not have minions here with them. They're going to do this the old-fashioned way. And KE dashes in, does land the taunt, but no one there for follow-up, so Mashi boys can continue their grind to burn down all these Phoenixes.
I wonder, with no minions, what are you really waiting for here if you're Mashi boys?
Yeah, because they're not on their way either as a 3-man taunt lands, but KE, he set his good setup, but he immediately gets burned down. Cataclysm to lock down Apex, but no one's feeling one noob on the backside as he eradicates the one noob. Bluefish going to fall as well. Jake Pocket, the one that finds that. Only the lone Apex to defend up against 5. Mashi boys going to barrel down in and take down this Titan.
Jake Pocket, absolute MVP performance from him. The one noob looked good on Pele. Exciting Pele play for the first time we get to see her. Certainly showed off what she can do, rotating around the map very quickly, using that volcanic lightning to really make plays. But really, it was all Jake Pocket setting people up with that Sobek.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you got some new fancy tools you spend a lot of money on, and yeah, they do some nice stuff, but, you know, all reliable back there. Just pulling out a Sobek solo kind of gets the job done well. Turns out Pluck and Tail Up are pretty good. It turns out, yeah.
Yeah, good displacement, having the ability to then get immediate CC immunity by lurking in the waters and getting yourself out of danger. Not bad. Can do the job.
Having the Geb there doesn't hurt either.
Seek
played excellently.
Very, very well. It was absolutely critical. Basically just as much as Jake Pocket in my mind, making sure that Mashi boys go to game 3.
And that does end up forcing the game 3. Let's see if Mashi boys can grab it or if Get On My Level is going to be able to get the regroup. Again, that'll be in just a moment. We'll take a break and get that game ready for you and be right back. Welcome back to the SMITE Global Series Southeast Asia, Finch and Aggro here. And again, it's get on my level up against Mashu Boys. Game 3, what more can you ask for? You just love Game 3, don't you? Anytime where it all comes down to that one last match.
Especially when the first two have been so close, right?
Right.
Where in the first game, Mashu Boys, massive lead, all wiped away very quickly. Then in Game 2, get on my level, massive lead, all wiped away quickly. So we'll see if a team can get a lead and hold it. So maybe you might want to sandbag through the first few moments at this rate.
And we've gotten to see some fun stuff too, right? We've gotten to see Berserker Shield Bologna come out, right? We've gotten to see Pele and her action in these games as well. So we certainly have gotten to see some fun stuff, some of the new stuff here from SMITE as well. Freya having a good time, but maybe not quite as novelty at this point. So it's been a lot of fun to watch these two teams. But hey, hard to think of a ban I could agree more with than not letting Jake Pocket play Sobek.
Jake Pocket has been the player to watch. Even through the first game where Mashu Boys lose, Jake Pocket was playing beautifully. The rest of the team just had a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
He had one or two bad team fights, and the game was kind of over because he's playing Achilles, and that's how that works. Get on my level, decide to ban the Pele as well. So now you've got some Freya picks open again. I think I'm still going back to Freya. There was a good lead for Maker Love there. It just didn't end up translating ultimately, but I don't think there's any time to change that.
Yeah, he had a lot of people over there with
Be
him.
sure to grab
Najab
some
still on the board as well. Baron
Baron.
certainly still available. Athena, someone that could be selected. Serket still out there. A ton of value still sitting on the board when you have to ban the Sobek here this early. They had to adjust and ban away that Pele as well. But I don't hate this. Geb coming in, Seek played that one out of his mind.
Yep.
Yeah, get that back there for him again.
100%. I love these two picks. I'm giving that Baron to Jake as long as he's comfortable with it. Let him control these team fights again. Geb shield for him right away. These are the ideal first two picks for Mashu Boys with this current bans that Get on My Level went with.
Sun Wukong going to come through to be paired here with the Athena. And this is interesting. Sun Wukong, I feel like, is in a better place than he has been recently, but I still don't know if I'd put him up there near the top with some of those other solo laners, like with the Kukulans, like with the Achilleses. Sobek was banned away, sure, but there's a lot of, I don't know if I would have taken him above even Erlong or Bologna.
I think that Osiris is probably one that I would have looked at with Berserker Shield. I mean, how does Baron ever get away from you? You can't. I mean, I guess if he hits you with the Wrap It Up, and then you don't have your ultimate, but if you do have your ult and he doesn't have his up, like, he's just dead if he contests you at all in lane. So I think that Osiris is one that I would have looked towards, but if Wukong is something that Apex is more comfortable with in that lane, then that's something he's more comfortable with.
I am a little surprised they're going back to the Uller. I don't know that Kamir particularly impressed on this pick.
I agree.
We go back with it again, and there's still tons of very strong hunters that are out there on the table as well. But if this is something, could be mid. That's very true. We could see Uller there. I thought we were going to see it there the first time we saw it, but they give it to Kamir. So certainly still a lot that can come from this Uller if they want to have some early pressure.
I do think I'd be putting this in the mid. The one new played Pele mid last time around. Clearly wants to play something a little bit more strange, though. This is maybe Baron mid lane now is what I'm looking at with this Terra selection. As Get on My Level, go back to the Ao Kuang. Love this. Definitely the right call. But now I don't want Freya and ADC because then you're too magical heavy by going a traditional mage. The Neath, I didn't think was particularly impressive in the mid lane there for Bluefish. So Rom put in the duo lane much, much better from Get on My Level this time around.
It is a lot of auto attack reliance though, and if they go with that auto attack build for the Ao Kuang again, between the Freya and the Rom, there's a ton of opportunity for good counterability from Mashu.
I don't disagree with you there, but I think that you can build against auto attacks, but ultimately you hit 35, 40 minutes. Sure, it doesn't really matter because you just get shredded anyways, and especially with Freya Ao Kuang Rom, which is just an insane amount of late
Some
game.
of the best ones you could ask for, right?
So it really Get on My Level just needs to hold on in the early stages and not let Mashu Boys get off to a huge lead.
Daji going to come through. Quinn's been a big part of when things look good for Mashu Boys, where Quinn's been there for them. So if he feels comfortable on this Daji pick, that's certainly one that can kind of run the show. A big beads burner, tons of damage with that dot, can chase down relatively easily. We'll see if that ends up working for him. But Baron in the mid lane, Ryan, I know you're not a big fan of Baron in the mid lane in particular.
See, that's the thing. I am. I love it. I love this character. I love dealing damage with him. It feels really good. Except you don't deal a lot of damage. And that's where the problem lies, is that he just doesn't. His scaling isn't particularly impressive. His early game mana consumption is just horrible to try and play around. He uses so much mana all the time. You have to back consistently. It's tough. But if you get to like 5, 6 items, he starts to do a lot of damage and still brings that same utility. So it can work.
I just wish it worked a little bit better so I could do it all the time because I love this character.
It is going to be the Freya that he's up against, though, and so there could be some problems here for one noob. He's not very mobile. Going to be reliant on getting that movement speed off his second ability to try and get away from a Bing, to try and get away from Bluefish. If he lands the Banish onto this Baron, that's some guaranteed shots coming in, and almost certainly death for him. It could potentially be a tough matchup. We'll see how it ends up working for one noob. There's certainly some opportunities for him as well, but it's not easy going into the Freya out.
I agree with you. I think that picking a god like Baron into a god like Freya that punishes immobility so well by using Banish and then buying that time to get really close to you so that you can guarantee all those auto attacks can be very tough to deal with.
And it looks like this time with the middle lane, it is going to be the Book of Thoth start. I think when we saw Freya in the dual lane, it was Banfrops. So I like this again to try and give him some of that bigger mana.
More about the staying in lane a little bit longer because you don't have someone else to help you clear the wave like you do in duo lane. You're doing a little bit less fighting one-on-one or two-on-two in the mid lane, and you have a little bit more time to stack up an item like Book of Thoth in mid. So it's definitely a better call in the mid lane. Though I still, like I said last game, think I would have preferred to see it over the Bancroft.
Fluid like the wind. The call here already level 3 for Bluefish, so doing a good job getting experience, even moving around the map quite well. As it is going to be Kamiru taking that Uller into the Hunter role. Once we saw the Baron come through, that seemed pretty clear for him, but he still feels good about this matchup. Now, they're going to be going up against the Rom and the Athena. Rom very reliant on those auto attacks, so there should be room, I feel like, for Kamiru here to kind of bully this Rom potentially.
There is, but once Rom gets those Devour Gauntlets up and online, he can start life-stealing in that 1v1. It can be a little bit more difficult, but that's still a ways away. Because you don't just need to buy the Devo gloves, you need to stack them all the way up before they end up being impactful at all for you in that lane. So Kamiru, if he can land the axes, should get the better end.
Maker Love, though, doing a good job getting some clear. And in fact, with this taunt right here, they have a chance for a first blood here on the Seek Silk. And indeed, Maker Love will find it. Get on my level with first blood.
And Maker Love has just made plays so far today. Whether it was in the last game, even though they lost, that Freya was so far ahead. Game 1, he was an absolutely critical piece of the comeback on the Chernobog. Maker Love is definitely, we've been singing the praises of Jake Pocket quite a lot. Machu Boys on the right side of the map, but Get On My Level clearly has the better end on the left.
Kamiru now in some trouble as well. No ultimate available for Maker Love, not this early, so once Uller's out, he is indeed out, but the time span on that working is short, as Rom pretty good at punishing you for jumping away with low health.
Maker Love just had enough mana for one more Astral Arrow even during that Athena taunt. That could have been a kill. That was the difference in damage, 20 HP or something of the likes, but Maker Love all the way out of mana, and that is unfortunate. I don't think he has enough to pick up Devo Gloves quite yet, even with that first blood bounty. He'll probably be sitting on Curse Gauntlet, and yeah, he is, so just has to accept that. His back timing is going to be a little bit weird. You get a lot of pressure by using your Astral Arrows and Pick Me Up and all that mana that Rom can expend in lane quite easily in the early game. You get something out of it, but there is an opportunity cost. This is it. You don't get the time of your back the way you want it.
Doesn't quite work out there for Maker Love, as a Tiger Stun does land for Apex, but not much more follow-up there. Both of these supports, though, have elected to not just get Blink, but get it right away. So we don't have the typical sort of extra layer of help in these team fights early that you see, like with sprints, shells, or horrific ailments to try and lock them down, even meditation sometimes. These are initiation tools.
I don't mind it on the Geb because otherwise Machu Boys could have trouble initiating in the 3v3s and the 4v4s. On the Athena, though, Blink Athena is cute. It works, but I think it's a little bit better later on in the game where it's a lot easier to get punished for dashing in. In the early game, your natural tankiness can kind of save you from getting punished for dashing in early on. Here, now you're losing out on a sprint, shell, meditation, all of which would have been pretty solid. Especially the meditation, I think, is good to keep these fights going. With how long Southeast Asia fights usually end up being, meditation gets a little bit more value.
Yeah, plus you're often getting poked by Uller in lane, right? Yeah, I'm persuaded by the idea of that meditation as Jake Pocket continuing getting bullied by Apex. And it looks like Apex wants to keep this one going. He is indeed going to drop that decoy, force out the Earth and Fury. He had a Bing making the rotation over on the Out Kwong, but Jake Pocket ran away so truly so completely that there's no real chance for the dive.
There is a potential, though, for his blue buff invade, though. It doesn't look like Get On My Level have the timer. Instead, they'll head back towards their own blue, though Seek was rotating, so maybe not wanting that 2-on-2 Guardian fight.
I feel that this Terra pick for Jake Pocket is one that I'm not in love with because does Terra dominate
Team fights the way that Sobek does? No. No one really does, to be fair, but
Terra can make big plays in team fights, but I feel like there are more impactful gods in the solo lane, and I feel like Jake is the dude you want to play around. If you're Mashu boys, that I would have given him a little bit more of a high impact god.
Yeah, and this is interesting too because with Sobek, his impact immediately is so high that you're kind of okay if he's there for one fight. Is hold that thought. Bluefish could be in trouble. Still has Valkyrie's discretion to get him up, and that will outlast life of the party. But now Raquin is going to look for the pull, but beads are there, and now he's looking for the turnaround. The tower shot makes it 1-for-1.
Well, he's lucky that the first blood went the way of Mashu boys, that the one noob was able to get the finishing blow on Bluefish before the tower took him down. So still worthwhile for the Mashu boys, but very nearly punished. Raquin got body blocked by his own pillar.
Didn't quite work out for him there in that case, as Raquin doesn't even get the kill credit, gets the assist. It goes over to one noob on the Baron there in the middle lane, whereas Bluefish, who was the target, was able to find the kill with that tower shot kind of helping him out to finish that off, and accelerating the Freya, which you is a sentence you rarely want to hear unless you're playing Freya.
That is tough, but Baron gets the first blood, gets his boots done. He decides to finish the boots instead of the Book of Thoth. Just a stylistic difference between him and Bluefish. Bluefish doesn't want to rotate quite as much, wants to make sure he's getting bang for his buck with that Book of Thoth being completed right away. I don't think either of them is objectively correct. I do think that the one noob will continue to have mana issues until he finishes off that Book of Thoth, but should be getting pretty close to it at this point.
Now, first blood was grabbed by Makerlove duo lane earlier on, so we don't have to worry too much about one noob zooming too far out in front as Jake, again, under duress. They can't quite find it, though. Again, he kind of just walks at it. Well, there you go. No big deal.
Bing didn't have the beads, and if Jake realized that he got that stun, maybe would have been able to turn it around, though. I think he was all out of ability, so better safe than sorry than getting yourself executed in that position.
Able to teleport right on back in as well as Jake Bucket going to keep right on farming. Apex not going to have that same luxury once he has to back. He has meditation. Now, of course, he should have to back less because he does have the meditation, but when he wants to go back to finish off items, which still needs to be done at the store, he'll have to hoof it back in.
Raquin looking for Bluefish, who's got an ult. Yeah, he does, just in time. Was close, though. If Raquin had canceled it, could have gotten two.
Instead, he looked for the second shot, and that will set up the kill onto the Athena at the very least, as a root lands from Jake Pocket. A good banish to try and slow down that combo. Apex goes right up into the air to try and get away. Will get some healing, but the wall is perfect waiting on him when he comes down. Kamiru finishes that one off. 5 members in mid to set up that kill.
Very quickly, too, and Makerlove decides not to make that rotation over. I can't really blame him. You don't feel like that's going to be a game-changing fight, but that might have just cracked it open as Gold Fury now puts it up.
But they're giving it up. I guess they recognize the Bing was on his way in. Defender of Olympus here as well. And Mashu boys do not go for the Gold Fury despite that big grouping. So Makerlove ends up correct after all, and not too punished for that.
A Bing walks right over a ward, though. I like the cute little play of use that stealth from Water Illusion and the Defender of Olympus combo that doesn't create any effects, and if your character is in stealth, it's an old school Loki combo to go into Vanish, Athena ult, and assassinate someone right as it's about to land. At 100 to 0 is just about anybody. It's the same idea here with Alkwong, it's just that he walked over a ward.
They recognized and gave up on the Gold Fury correctly there. So that you think that would have been enough to cause enough problems, the Bing and Athena there, where they wouldn't have been able to go for gold?
Yeah, I mean, if you hit the whole team with that, you're getting everyone so low, and Athena taunt right afterwards that
sure,
there's a decent chance that a Bing finds it execute in the midst of that. With Cataclysm down and G ultimate down, that is tough to contest in that spot for sure.
You give up on it and get on out of there before any more problems can be caused by being on this Ao Kuang. And at this point, he's able to sort of ride along the same way we saw Ao Kuang riding along in Game 1, right? Not looking for a ton, but making sure he stays comfortable in terms of farm, as Bluefish has his ultimate forced out, and the Palau still waiting for Raquin, but not going to be able to find on the back end of that.
Bluefish has been under pretty consistent duress. Now he's still been able to get himself a level lead, or at least a marginal XP lead over the one noob so far, but there's not been a lot of time for him to use that ultimate aggressively so far, and that's a good thing to do against Freya. Don't let her get that farm and get to the point where she can just be using that ultimate for damage alone. If you can consistently force her to have it on cooldown just to keep herself alive, then you're in a much better spot.
Quinn has been putting a lot of attention here in the middle lane. Going to keep that going as he sees Ikei and a Bing Love there. Has a little bit of support coming his way, but there's not really anything to strip away. Red buff not up right about now. Oracles are about to spawn. Gold Fury there too. They're grouping up around it, but they don't want it. They're going to wait to see if anyone walks through this jungle path. They're not going to come by themselves. A three-man squad going to set up the Blink. Cataclysm is going to force out the beads from Bluefish, and Requin deletes a Bing.
Yeah, great pull in from Requin as well. Beautiful double kill there for Requin, and it's all set up by Seek. Perfect Blink. Cataclysm got both beads, and good reaction from a Bing and Bluefish. They were quick on the beads, but not quick enough.
Yeah, they were simultaneous almost as Maker Love contests the Gold Fury, but least correctly. He might have been a little bit too early on the ultimate either way, but Mashi Boy is able to defend it. Maker Love doing what he could, not able to strip it away. And with a couple quick kills and the Gold Fury, they've now put themselves almost 2,000 gold out in front.
This is definitely a good lead for the Mashi Boys, but as I said coming in, maybe having a lead isn't what you want so far in this set. Both teams that have had leads have lost the game. That's why we're here in Game 3. The late game for Get On My Level is incredibly potent, and the lead in XP really isn't there for Mashi Boys, and that's usually when you see games snowball out of control, is on the back of experience leads. If you don't have one of those, then it's a little bit easier to end up having the game slip away from you. So Mashi Boys have looked good so far, but they need to keep the pressure on and not let off the gas, because if they do, then this Freya Alquang Rom will end up beating them.
Will be quite potent once they get to that late game. Kei is going to taunt. That's going to force the beads out from Kamiru. That was the blink expended from the Athena as well to close the gap so quickly. Kamiru quick with the response, but we'll be much more vulnerable without that beads. No ultimate for CC immunity and a long time to sometimes switch over to Axe Stance to jump away. Certainly some potential there with Kamiru.
Pyromancer pulled. Jake Pocket knows what's going on, and we'll show up, crash the party, and everyone leaves.
Yeah, that's enough of that.
Yeah, quit it. Okay.
Oh. He does kind of just come in and say, yeah, get out of here. And then that's enough. They leave. Pyromancer really not worth a ton. It's nice to be able to find some extra gold XP, but certainly not worth having Jake Pocket there causing you a bad time in the jungle, so they give up on it.
Apex has got the early Pestilence. I like this pickup for him. It's really good against the Terra in lane. It'll be helpful whenever it's time to rotate into the team fights as well. Definitely the right idea. I think that dedicated anti-heal is something that Get On My Level should pick up in this game. Divine Ruin for Bluefish. Maybe, you can't really get a Brawlers on Wukong. This is where not having a traditional physical jungler can hurt you, because you don't have someone who can easily pick up Brawler's beat stick.
Apex in a little bit of trouble here in the solo side. Jake Pocket and Requin spreading about out a bit so he can keep up the chase, but Bird Form is pretty darn good, but able to chase him with the Trickster Spirit, and now right into the Palau to lock him down. That should be a kill. They're going to give it over to Requin as well for the nice follow.
Tier 1 tower on the left goes down. Kamiru in trouble. He's got to leap away, but the snipes could be there from Maker Love. Execute will get the job done for him. Bing gets his first execute of the game, but look at this. Around the back comes the one noob.
One noob is going to look for a target, but a Bing going to come right in for some follow-up for him as well. He is up in the coffin. Stun lands onto a Bing, and one noob finds the kill. Geb's shield is huge to keep him alive, but Maker Love rather, does not care as he finds that kill. But Requin's going to come in on a rampage and find one more in trade, but there's Hickey right there to keep it going.
It's a 4 for 2 on this left-hand side. Apex is down, yeah, so total 4 for 3, but that kill was on the right-hand side. A big old brawl underneath this tier 2 on the left, and Maker Love's able to do way more in that fight than Kamiru. Ikei does some good damage. Bluefish being the only damage dealer left standing at the end. Get On My Level starting to show that they've still got it if you start to team fight them.
That's right. Certainly capable of getting on the level of Mashi Boys at the very least, are the Get On My Level squad. And I think it is worth mentioning the namesake of Get On My Level, very, very legitimately, their player Get On My Level, was there for them in game 1, but they couldn't have him here for games 2 and 3. But seems it's Apex who's in here for them instead. And for what it's worth, I don't think Apex has been a problem for them so much. The tier in game 2 maybe didn't wow me or overwhelm or anything, but I also don't think it limited the squad. Get On My Level still seem to be in a position where they can definitely take this set.
I agree with you. Jake Pocket has kind of run rampant in this set, but it happened to Get On My Level as well.
Yeah.
Maybe even worse than Apex in games 2 or 3. So you're right. It definitely it can throw off your team dynamic, but who knows? Maybe Apex has been playing with them, and it was Get On My Level who came in to fill in game 1. It's tough to keep up with the team dynamics, some of these global series teams.
That's right. I believe it was Get On My Level who played with them at LAN at the very least when they came here in summer.
It was.
So they could at least have been building there from that. But you're right. It is hard to know what kind of change they might have made in between. It is Apex who they're riding with now, and on the Sun Wukong at the very least, he hasn't had a ton of success even up against this Terra. 0-2-0. There's been some extra attention there, but Pyromancer being looked at. Aggression in the mid lane as well. Mashi Boys get the objective, but one noob under siege. A Bing, can't find him, gets locked down. Defender of Olympus won't even channel as one noob gets the kill.
Pull could be here. Hikei gonna get brought back in from that powwow ultimate. Apex's somersault cloud necessary as well. Raquel has just been so good this game on this .G. He has been where he needs to be. His damage has been relevant. His ultimates have been on point. Yeah, he's been impressive.
Fire Giant now being looked at as knockup does end up landing on the Seek. Apex is right here. Bluefish, no ultimate, but is going to be on his way to this as well. Maker Love doesn't have the ultimate either, so he won't join the fray. Raquel going to zone away Apex. Fire Giant now below a quarter HP. Bluefish still nearby, but they turn their attention towards him and zone him out as well. Looks like they should be able to secure.
That was perfect, right? Bluefish pops in as Apex is getting attention away from the enemy team. Then everyone looks at Bluefish. Then Apex forgot his line. He missed his cue to go in. That's where when half the team is distracted, you get to waltz in and try and get the steal potential. Was a little bit too worried, maybe got a little gun shy in the face of trying to secure it.
Instead ends up falling back. Now the tier 1 tower is under siege. Apex, rather, he's the one sieging and gets stunned out, takes a bunch of damage for a Jake Pocket there to defend. The Gold Fury is at least a response, but can they even confirm this with Kamiru on his way? Looks like he has some help from Raquel as well. Gold Fury low, Taunt will control, and that means Raquel can't steal.
Raquel's got to use Aegis and uses his powwow just as a disjoint to get out of range in time. Very good decision making. Don't let the enemy team set up around you to try and box you in when you're on top of that powwow. Cost him his Aegis and his ult, but with Fire Giant, still Mashi Boys have the lead.
There are very few relics available for them, though, if they want to go for their siege. Essentially just the Aegis for Kamiru, and whenever Seek goes to back and picks up whatever he wants his second relic to be, they had to expend quite a bit to get that fight to go their way, but it did go their way. Tier 1 tower in duo should come down to Kamiru's presence. And once the rest of the squad regroups, they can push wherever they'd like. There's still tier 1s everywhere else. The first tower that Mashi Boys are able to grab.
Mashi Boys have plenty of gold on the map available. Good axe onto Hikei, and you're not allowed to dash those.
Ooh. Maker Love finds quite a bit of damage there on the one noob. Going in aggressively still here is Apex. Earth and Fury going to come out in response. Maker Love looking for the snipe to try and follow up. And that will send Kamiru on his way. Now Bluefish and Bing have a chance to wrap in on the backside of this fight as Apex keeps up the pressure.
Good Cataclysm from Seek, and Bing trying to get the last bit of damage off. Great body block by him using Water Illusion to get in range, and that should be an execute.
That means now Bing can continue to engage if he so chooses. Someone else likely to tank up that tier 2 tower first. He will dive right in. His target will be Kamiru, but a great axe is going to create the space necessary to push him back. Raquel getting chunked by Maker Love, who's unchecked on the backside. Now Jake Pocket will be his target, who's going to try and get right on out of there, but the Banish will lock him down.
Bluefish does secure that one. Man, you really are cursed to have a lead in this set right now, because it felt like Mashi Boys were going to start to put the pressure on, but Seek just wasn't there in order to get that team fight going in their favor. Even though they get the kill on the Hikei, it's Maker Love again who just makes a play, insta-kills the one noob, and you called it beforehand, the lack of relics make it very difficult for Mashu Boys to get that fight in their favor.
And Get On My Level, I think, recognizing that they did have the room to continue up that siege, right? Mashu Boys couldn't disengage cleanly enough, and Get On My Level never let them. And the execute, I think, really helped set that up, because then Bing was able to close that distance even greater and continue up the pressure underneath the Tier 2 tower. And you got to give a ton of credit to Maker Love, man. I mean, at this point, he's just swinging on this ROM, and if no one's going to look at him, he's just going to keep taking his shots.
He is the guy keeping Get On My Level in this game, and now they're not just in this game, they're in the lead by a noticeable amount. Not a substantial margin, but a noticeable amount. XP is pretty heavily in their favor as well. Bluefish is up about 2.5 levels over the one noob. Maker Love's up at a level and a half, 2 levels over Kamiru. This is where that late game potential from this composition is tough to stop.
And you said it, that even if you build some anti-attack speed, this squad is eventually going to be the point where they're going to be a little bit too tough. That is especially true if that first part never happens, and there is no anti-attack speed. That might be coming through from Seek here. I'm not sure quite what he's working on now, but to this point, there has been no deterrent.
And so now Get On My Level, split up, farm, good, that's fine. You don't have a lot of towers left on the map to take. So maybe Pyromancer is the next point. I think Get On My Level should be on this Pyro as soon as possible to try and keep the momentum in their favor. Aegis is still down for Kamiru for a little bit longer. Now, Bing and Bluefish are without purification beads for a little bit, so we might see them play a little bit slow because of that, but I still think I'd like to at least put some amount of pressure on Mashu Boys.
It's going to be the idea here for Mashu Boys. See if they want to try and get this one started. But still, there's not much of a grouping at this point. Yeah, these teams are kind of falling back. See where it is that everybody wants to try and go. It looks like there might be a bit of a trouble here for Maker Love. Gonna need a chance to see if they can get him back here in this game as he has DC'd. Get On My Level. Certainly want to have him for this one. He's been the one getting it done, at least so far, as we do indeed have a pause coming out.
And very, very critical to what Get On My Level has done so far. Yeah. So now, if you're on Mashu Boys, it's like, how do we answer a team composition that does so well this late into the game? And you really have to be very excellent on your target focus. You can't allow the enemy team to just focus you down very quickly. The one noob has to be very, very mindful of his positioning, because he's been a clear target so far for Get On My Level. So I think that I'm letting Geb be the protector right now. I'm not worried about him being the blink initiator. Kind of let Jake Pocket do that for you. Or maybe let Geb do the initiating and Jake Pocket stays back to peel, but it's you have to have a Guardian with your backliners now.
And that is the next question, right? Has this Terra gotten enough from Jake Pocket from the solo lane? And for me, it's definitely not doing what that Sobek was doing for them last game, right? And that was banned away from them, of course, so they couldn't have picked it here again. But I don't know, trying to pick something with just a little bit more impact in these fights, I think I might have liked. Earth and Fury, of course, by no means is small impact. That's huge, but it's not the same disruption that some of the other tools can bring.
Like Cataclysm only hits Apex as Requen trying to chase down a Bing. Able to force him back, but now he's got to use that Pal out defensively.
Look at Maker Love, full HP yet again, and a good time on that ultimate to go up to get away from those chains. Requen in some trouble, gets pulled right back in. Easy cleanup there for Apex. Now one noob is getting chunked while he's up inside that coffin as well. He has to go running for the hills as a Bing finds the execute.
This is what happens now. The late game too good. A Bing has the potential to try and get back in. This fight is taunt should be coming pretty soon here from Hakei.
Yeah, one noob is too low. Jake Pocket is as well. Maker Love finds the double. It should be a deicide as well, as Kamiru is going to jump back to try and get rid of someone, but a triple kill for Maker Love. Full on deicide. Get On My Level. Hey, you should just keep right on going, right?
Yes, Phoenix. This is absolutely a Phoenix haul. You got a minion wave with you. Get Fire Giant on the way back. We're a little weak. Who cares? There's no one here to hit you. You just wiped the entire team nice and clean. And it was Maker Love who made it happen.
Especially when you have one of the best steroids in the game and pick me up, right? You're going to be shredded through this Phoenix, even without the minion wave. Now you can come back without Mashu Boys fully regrouped and try and grab that Fire Giant. They're spread out a bit. I wouldn't have minded seeing them take a direct beeline towards it, but it looks like they don't want it. That's fine, I guess. They are low.
They are kind of low.
Yeah.
They've got so much DPS though that I feel like they could have gotten that Fire Giant had they tried to full commit for it.
And I think that they had a chance to. It looks like we are going to have one more brief pause. We want to make sure everybody's situated before we keep this action going. But another big fight comes up the way of Get On My Level, and they're able to get it done because I think, again, they've lost track of Maker Love in these fights, man. He was full HP, basically, when that fight was over.
And it just too spread out from Mashu Boys. I mean, a little bit of that fight's happening towards the left side of Pyromancer Rock. Most of the enemy team is on the right side of that if you're Mashu Boys. So now you're too split up. You can't really help your jungler. He takes a weird path, but he was kind of cut off by Bluefish's positioning. This Baron hasn't been able to provide that damage that you really need, and he's very vulnerable to the damage of the enemy team. Like, it's not uncommon to see this much damage at a Baron solo. In fact, I would say it is uncommon, because he would normally have far more than this amount of damage if he were being played in solo at this point, because he just builds full CDR and pokes you out so often, whereas now you have less uses of your utility abilities, and you're just dead if anyone looks at you.
And he's a nice target now, which he often isn't when he plays from the solo lane, right? Even if you try and focus him down, he builds tanky early on. It's a KE has to use Defender of Olympus just to reposition. Though he didn't go that far, right around the corner. One quick swing if you were a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, I'd get you right over
That's
there.
like flying from New York to Boston. Like, what's the point?
Right, yeah. Why get on the plane?
It literally takes you longer to get through security and everything than it is to drive.
Yeah. I might do if it was a flight from Philly like to Atlantic City, even though that's a short flight. You know, you could have a nice flight there. I might do that. But
how long is that
agree.
flight? I can't imagine.
Like 45 minutes, maybe?
Yeah.
If even.
Then that's not even worth it.
I spent 45 minutes in security.
Pyromancer being lifted.
Am I missing a reference here?
Always Sunny, baby.
Oh, I never watched that show.
It's a fantastic show. You should start watching.
I've heard good things about it.
As Fire Giant being looked at now by Get On My Level.
Hey, the gang's getting a Fire Giant.
That's a good bit. I like it. As they might not have it for so free. They do indeed manage to secure it, but Mashu Boys are going to want the fight on the back end. Earth and Fury hits just about everyone, as Raquin not going to be able to pull anybody back in, but Geb comes in with a three-man Cataclysm, and Jake Pocket ready to follow up.
Life of the party, not going to stun anybody. A little bit too greedy there with that ultimate. The one noob has had that problem all game long, has been trying to get too much value out of that ult, but Hikei cut off one escape route. No flight available, and no car available for him either. Two dead. Maker Love being one of those. I'm telling you, dude, never get a lead.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have
it. You can't have them, because you just instantly lose team fights after that.
Well, they are going to take that Tier 1 tower. It was 2-0 in Mashu Boy's favor. The Fire Giant is still on the three remaining members of Get On My Level, but they don't have Maker Love or Hikei here for the defense, so this Tier 2 tower will come down rather quickly. Mashu Boys now with all the control, a bit of a power play for a while, until everyone's back up from Get On My Level. But Get On My Level don't want to give up on it for free.
No. That is not your red buff anymore. Get On My Level, and you got to give that up. For some reason, Mashu Boy stopped the chase. That should have been a double right there. Is a Bing actually going to keep on going and get that execute, and now it's going to be Mashu Boys on the run.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You just can't. You got to be the last one to win a fight, I guess, if that doesn't sound too obvious. Raquin's the one in some trouble. Earth and Fury comes out from Jake Pocket and at least hits everyone, but one noob is stuck in between everyone. Blue Fish does end up dying to the one noob, and now one noob's in some trouble to Maker Love. They get the return kill. There's 4 members still up for Get On My Level, only 2 for Mashu.
Good shots out of Maker Love, out of range for the third, but he did as much damage as necessary. Apex able to secure it. Now here's where you just go Phoenix. Go to the other Phoenix that just respawned, because it's so weak. You might even be able to get this mid one without minion wave. That this is fine. Let Jake try and protect that from a fire minion wave. Get this mid Phoenix and head on over to the right-hand side. There's some potential for an end, but not great. I think getting Phoenixes is safer.
Yeah, this is definitely the safer idea. They have the fire minions here. Right Phoenix will indeed come down. In fact, Apex is threatening this left side Phoenix, all these minions here as well, and now Bing is going to come over to help out. That should be all 3 Phoenixes the way of Get On My Level. Tiger Stun doesn't land. They give up on the chase. Get On My Level, pull up for air, and are going to fall back.
Okay, so we're back, everybody. If you saw Get On My Level get the Fire Giant, or start the Fire Giant, assume they were going to get it, and then went to the bathroom or something like that, welcome back. Nothing really happened that changed the course of the game. Mashu Boys won a fight, and then didn't take a fight they should have, and then got punished for it, and now Get On My Level, it has all 3 Phoenixes.
Yep, they're in
There's your recap.
A great position now to win this game.
SGS happened, and here's what.
filmed it pretty quickly this time.
Yeah, it was quick. They call me the one-take wonder.
That's right, yeah. There's one shot right on through. As gold is going to be in favor of get on my level. Really everything in favor of get on my level here at this point in the game. Some anti-attack speed did come out here in the form of this Midgardian mail, but it's just on Seek, and it does feel like a little bit too little, too late. At this point, Bluefish, Maker Love, and a Bing are going to be just having a grand old time. And really, it's not even that much attack speed from a Bing. He just has, looks like, the Demonic Grip, the Wing Blades there as well, but Rada Tahuti, he has some pin from Divine Ruin. I don't know if he's looking as much for the autos.
Yeah, I would be selling this Demonic here with the rest of this build the way it is. Just pick up an Obsidian Shard.
Some more pin would help,
and,
yes.
And that does the job for you without needing those auto attacks. Especially because Bluefish already has Demonic Grip. The argument for it would be that, well, I'm stripping away protection that Bluefish can use, but that won't stack. It's like Executioner and, you know, in Jotun's Wrath. Like, if I've got an Executioner, you benefit from my, if you have Jotun's Wrath or whatever, you just benefit from my Executioner stacks. But we both have Executioner, it doesn't make both of us do double damage off the Exy. So if you already have one Demonic Grip, you really don't need to.
Well, there's no Phoenix to siege here. It's just the Titan for Mashu Boys to defend. There's fire minions in every single wave. Hikei going to go in first to pull in Kamiru, and that will be his beads gone by the wayside. But get on my level, still patient. They want to push up all these minion waves and have them pouring in from every side.
Kamiru's nearly done with a Magi's Cloak, so the loss of Purification beads hurts, but might not be backbreaking for him quite yet. Also has that Geb Shield from Seek. That was get on my level, just kind of knocking on the door, seeing if anyone was home. Mashu Boys were there, but not interested, so they'll head back towards Fire and get this one without any sort of pressure.
Grab that Fire Giant just to make sure. Sometimes you want to wear a nice belt before you go out, so they're going to put this one on, and then head over to the final show. That is going to be that Titan after all. Phoenix is still have not respawned yet either, but Mashu Boys have been able to push up these waves just a little bit.
Never really understood buying really expensive belts, you know?
Why not?
I mean, like, yeah, they look nice, but if you just get like a plain brown belt or something like that, that also looks nice.
I'm a big fan of reversible belts, where you have like
Same.
black and so it's like you bought 2 belts for one.
Exactly, but I don't think I wasn't gonna mention that because I think that's frowned upon.
Oh, do people not like that?
That's
Is that
like the opposite of buying a nice belt. You know?
That's like a thing you shouldn't do.
Right. I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm with you on it.
Well, they are going to start this fight right now. Seek is going to take a ton of damage, but so is a Bing. Chains coming out from a Quinn that will force out the beads, and Defender of Olympus defensively tightened down to about half HP, but there's no focus on it. Now Bluefish is putting in some damage. Titan getting low, but still Get on my level can't quite find their way in. Mashu Boys trying to defend. Get on my level only need a little bit more, and there it is. Game number 3 and the set going to Get on my level.
Maker Love gets the final kill and the final blow, it looks like, on the Titan, and that is appropriate for how well he played that game 3. That was probably the longest Titan fight I've seen with no deaths at all.
Yeah.
For a long period of time, but ultimately it was Get on my level to take the victory.
Yeah, for a 5-on-5 around the Titan, usually those are just like you jump in and you just kind of pump it all in, but they were spread all around, fighting everywhere.
Right. Either one team tries to dump everything in the Titan and they get killed for it, but the Titan dies or gets close to dying.
Right.
Or they look for all the kills, they get the kills and end the game. It was right down the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, neither really happened, but they got it done eventually.
And to be honest, so was that whole game, right? It was right down the middle. The teams were having a hard time full committing to much of anything. It felt like kind of backing out. That'll come, I think, with a little bit more time for them. But Get on my level, we just saw them, you know, at the last LAN. Here they are looking good online one more time and able to beat out Mashu Boys, who have some remnants from the team we used to see back in spring.
That's right. Get on my level, stay undefeated, I believe. That should put them to 3-0 so far in the fall split. So off to a great start to be your Southeast Asia representative.
They got to worry about the substitutes with a very similar logo. I don't know how much I like that, actually.
Oh, no. I don't like that at all. How are you going to... Yo,
What?
can I get a copyright strike for these guys? Get on my level. Sue those guys.
How
Come
am I
on.
just noticing this? Substitutes coming in, just kind of just
I think they hit it from
stealing
us.
their style.
I think they hid it from us at first and now just updated it, knowing that we would be very angry.
They
we
were
are.
correct.
we are angry.
Raging a little bit over here, but it's still staying interesting. Actually, take a look at Brazil. It appears Black Dragons might have dropped that set.
Wow,
So
it's a
No
no ping.
Ping remain the ones who were the victors up at the top, undefeated 3-0. Brazil might have a slightly different look there. So that
Yeah,
means that this
indeed.
matchup coming up tomorrow is going to be even more important. The door kind of open over there.
That is true, definitely. The two teams looking for wins in the Brazilian region. Watch Me Nene and ESPORTS. Excited to see what they can bring. But that is a big loss for Black Dragons. And
Yeah.
a big win for No Ping.
Yeah, it could be hard to make that ground up. We'll have to make sure we keep our eyes on that one as that continues on. Looks like it was very close. They dropped to No Ping 2-1 as well. So very, very close set of that one that happened offline. Definitely going to make sure we're keeping an eye on that one. But that's it. Global Series just stays competitive, man. It's so much fun to
Yep.
watch. We do in some regions like LATAM kind of see the same representatives. I think Nocturnes, for my money, are the best Global Series team just in general.
Agreed.
But in some of the other regions, it stays so competitive. Over in Oceania, Southeast Asia, Brazil wasn't one of those, and now maybe it is.
Maybe it is. It takes some time. I mean, for a long time, Europe wasn't a particularly, a competitive region for
That's right,
SPL, and then it became very competitive very quickly. So it takes some time, but it does happen.
Well, that's going to do it at least for the Global Series. But if you're thinking, man, is that all the competitive Smite I get today? Well, then you're a fool. SPL is just about to happen here in a moment. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back for that. So grab your drink now, then get right back here for the SPL action.